us, or we into this. The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
This slams a ball to right field, way back, way gone! Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second, the throw! In time!
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
After dropping 2 straight in Houston and 4 straight overall, the Blue Jays will look to escape Texas tonight with a win and head to New York on a high note for a weekend series with the Yankees. Welcome to Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Eric Smith and former Major Leaguer Chris LaRue with you, alongside host Julia Kreutz, producer Nick Blackmore, and technical director Tom Young. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center in Rhinefeld, Manitoba, and Kenora. Crown is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986, so protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center or visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. Bowden Francis, 2-2 on the bump for Toronto, hoping to help the Jays snap this 4-game funk. Ryan Gusto, 2-1, going for the Astros. It's Houston and Toronto. The first pitch right around the corner. You're listening to Blue Jays baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app, sportsnet.ca, and across the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Barry, do you ever wonder why we fly north every...
Hey Blue Jays fans and baseball fans around the world. Our Toronto Blue Jays are traveling to Houston to take on the Astros. Thank you for hanging out with us for the Toronto Blue Jays matchup. Go Jays, go! It's going to be a great game, and we are so thankful that you chose to hang out here on Toronto Sports Insider.
Locations where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
The NFL Draft is on SiriusXM. Take your pick on how to listen with the SiriusXM app.
The NFL Draft is officially open.
NFL Radio brings you every selection and exclusive interviews.
22.
Hear insights from the experts that covered the players in college on SiriusXM College Sports Radio. Fantasy Sports Radio forecasts their fantasy football impact. And get instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Search NFL Draft on the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365. Coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Network.
Make sure there's no momentum from these couple games and struggles to score.
Guys are good with it. You know, I think they understand probably better, guys in there understand probably more so than the casual fan or people that, there's a game tomorrow and you want to come out and put your best foot forward. So you keep plugging away, you keep plugging away. The guys are going about it the right way, just not getting results. And we know that's going to come soon.
And of course, the voice of Blue Jays manager John Schneider speaking before the ball game about, some of the negativity that's swirling around the team right now from the comments coming, whether it be from media or fans or otherwise. The Blue Jays having lost 4 straight. They've dropped down now to 3rd in the American League East. And it's really been about the offense slipping during this 4-game skid, especially the first 2 games in Houston. So hopefully the bats can get rolling tonight. The Jays can get back above 500 and carry a little momentum into their weekend series against the Yankees. Let me quickly, before I bring in Chris LaRue, get the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. It's the Yankees in first at 15-10. Boston 14-11. Second place. The Jays in third at 12-12. Baltimore and Tampa pulling up the rear of the division. But Chris, what will it take to get the offense rolling? Because it really hasn't seemed like there has been much of a spark, at least here in Houston.
Well, I can tell you this much, right? The Blue Jays care that they're scuffling right now. They care that they've lost 4 in a row. But you and I know, well, more so me, because you're more of a basketball guy than a baseball guy. But baseball players know that there's going to be another game tomorrow. It's not like basketball. It's not like football. It's not like the NHL where you have to wait a couple of days or 24 hours, 48 hours to play another game. There's another game tomorrow. And I think that's what people have to understand. But at the same time, that doesn't take away from the care level of the guys in that clubhouse. They care that they were 0 for 3 last night. I'm sure Andres Jimenez cares that he was 0 for 4 last night. What's it going to take to get out of that slump? I think just coming to the field, preparing like you normally prepare, and eventually you'll get out of that slump. You'll start to barrel up some baseballs. You'll start to go the other way on tough fastballs away, and then eventually everything will fall into place.
All right, that sounds good. I'm buying. I'm buying. Hopefully that is the case tonight as the Blue Jays close up this series against the Astros and then have an off day tomorrow before heading to New York for the weekend series against the Yankees. All right, we talk about the offense. John Schneider moving things around a little bit, making a few changes tonight. Why don't you give us the starting lineups for tonight?
Well, the starting lineup for the Houston Astros, leading off is Jose Altuve. He's in left field. DHing tonight, batting second is Yordan Alvarez. Batting third is Isaac Paredes. He'll be at third base. At shortstop in the cleanup spot is Jeremy Pena. Batting fifth is Christian Walker. He'll be playing first base tonight. Behind the plate, batting sixth is Yainer Diaz. Batting seventh is Zach DeZenzo. He's in right field. Batting eighth is Mauricio Dubon. He'll play second base. And in center field, batting ninth is Chas McCormick. On the mound from Santa Rosa, California, is righty Ryan Gusto. For the Toronto Blue Jays, leading off is Bo Bichette. He's at shortstop. Batting second is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He'll be at first base. DHing batting third is Anthony Santander. In the cleanup spot is George Springer. He's in center field. Batting fifth is Andres Jimenez. He's at second base tonight. Behind the plate, batting sixth is Alejandro Kirk. Hitting seventh is Addison Barger. He's in right field. Hitting eighth is Will Wagner. He'll be at third base tonight. And batting ninth in left field is Alan Roden. On the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays is righty Bowden Francis.
Can I ask you my Captain Obvious question?
Sure thing.
How important is it? I mean, you could probably insert this question for at least 4, if not 5, 6 players in this lineup. But how important is it for Santander and Jimenez specifically to get going if this team is going to get going?
Well, I think specifically Anthony Santander has to get going. I thought he was going to get going when he hit those 2 home runs in the span of 4 or 5 days or so, or a week. Those were 2 really good swings. And over the last little while, last night he was 0 for 4 with a strikeout, but over the last little while, he started to kind of revert back to those early season struggles. He's not swinging at pitches that are conducive to hitting home runs and driving balls in the gap. That should be concerning to John Schneider. It should be concerning to Anthony Santander. I think when he starts making better decisions up there, when he starts swinging at good pitches that he can drive, I think that's when the success will follow. But I think that Anthony Santander is the guy that really needs to step up and start stepping up for this offense to go where it needs to go.
Well, hopefully the Jays bats can get things rolling tonight, starting off with Bo Bichette in a couple of moments. We're probably about 2 minutes away from first pitch. The one scary thing as well, I'm going to give you a number, folks. In 8 games over the last 2 seasons, dating back to 2023, 8 home games against the Blue Jays, the Houston Astros pitching staff has a 1.25 ERA against the Blue Jays.
And a no-hitter.
And a no-hitter, which we saw from last night's starter as well. That came, April 1st last season, correct? So Houston has certainly had Toronto's number down in Texas. And we'll see if that continues tonight with Ryan Gusto on the mound, 2-1. The ERA sitting at 3.18, 17 strikeouts on the season. and a top 5 neck in baseball.
And you can blame you can blame the offense about the struggles against the Houston Astros. But remember, Hunter Brown pitched in that first game. Ronel Blanco pitched in the second game, and both of those guys looked very, very good. The stuff was top tier in baseball, especially Hunter Brown. That guy's fastball is off the charts. So you have to cut them some slack a little bit from these first 2 games. I'm excited to see what they can do against Gusto.
Well, Bo Bichette is taking his stride toward the plate, getting set to begin things for the Blue Jays. And Toronto in the baby blues tonight with Houston in the home whites. We are set to go as Gusto stares in at the sign. And he delivers the first pitch at 7:40 Eastern. It's a hot shot from Bichette out to short to Pena. He bobbled it, recovered, throws to first, and gets the out.
Well, that ball was actually hit so hard that Jeremy Pena had time to drop it, pick it up, and throw that ball across the diamond.
So out number 1 recorded off the first pitch of the game. Solid contact from Bichette. But unfortunately, he's tossed out at first. This brings up Vladimir Guerrero Jr., batting .278 coming into the ball game. He, among many players struggling with the offense thus far in Texas, came into the series batting above .300, now below .280, and still sitting on just 1 home run. Vladdy's got the hot pink elbow pad, wrist guard, shin guard.
Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why he's wearing that. He wears that every day. Just so you know.
I never said, like, there's always one a game. You try and get me on something. I never said otherwise. You know? It just stands out even more against the baby blues. He quickly works the count to 2-1 after Gusto just came back with a curveball that was well outside.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was 0 for 4 with 3 Ks in yesterday's ball game. He kind of looked lost. He was swinging at pitches out of the strike zone, very uncharacteristic of him so far this season.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Vladdy sends it down to third. It's scooped up by Isaac Paredes, and he throws it crossfield over to first to Christian Walker to record the out. There's 2 away.
A really good pitch from Gusto. 94 in off the plate. It looks like that's the game plan for Gusto against Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Pound him in, kind of tie him up, and he did it right there.
So a ground out to short, a ground out to third to start the game for Bichette and Guerrero, respectively. It brings up Anthony Santander, the switch hitter, batting from the left side against the righty, Gusto. Thrown only 5 pitches thus far and trying to put the Jays down in order to start this ball game. Santander jumps on the first pitch, fouls it straight back. An 0-1 count. Santander batting .196 with those 2 home runs that Chris mentioned a couple of moments ago. 8 runs batted in 23 games with the Jays this season. First inning is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Armstrong Bird Food, the reason birds fly north, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com as Anthony Santander swings through the 0-1 pitch. It's a fastball clocked at 95 and an 0-2 count. Gusto takes his time, looks in at the sign from Diaz. Looks like Diaz trying to set up a little bit outside. And here comes the pitch from Gusto. Down low, no good. The changeup, a 1-2 count.
And there was that changeup that he throws 9% of the time. Ryan Gusto has a 4-seam fastball, a sweeper, a cutter, a changeup, a curveball, and a sinker. That's it?
The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Santander sits down, and the Blue Jays go 1-2-3 to start the ball game. On to the bottom of the first we go. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Which Looney Dogger are you? Do you approach Tuesdays with swagger and style? You could be a Rizzy Glizzy. Maybe you're an architect stacking your Looney Dogs up high. Do you walk into the ballpark with the confidence of an MVD? Then you're the most valuable dogger. This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. No matter which Looney Dogger you are, you'll have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the ballpark. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. Every Tuesday home game. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Timber Mart. Locally owned, proudly Canadian. Your home team advantage with the right materials and the right price. Project know-how that's brought together a wealth of plans and solid advice. Trust your team at your locally owned Timber Mart. Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Centre. Visit timbermart.ca.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365 at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Blue Jays win it 3-1.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Getting set for the bottom half of the first inning, Jose Altuve, the veteran, will lead things off for Houston. No score after the Jays went 1-2-3 to start the ball game. Bowden Francis on the hill for the Blue Jays. A 2-2 record, a 3.13 ERA, and he delivers the first pitch to Altuve, who jumps on it, rips it foul down the third base line. It ricochets about 20 rows deep on a very hard hit ball.
Bowden Francis had a really good game on April 18th against Seattle in his last start. 6 innings, 5 hits, just 1 earned run, and 5 strikeouts.
The 0-1 pitch. And a curveball drops in beautifully at the top of the zone by Francis, and he's quickly ahead 0-2. Might be a little bit early for this, but the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. End of 1 period. Washington and Montreal tied 0-0. In the hole and past Bichette. He slid on one knee, and the ball still managed to find a way underneath the glove of Bichette into shallow left field, and it's a leadoff single to start the game for Jose Altuve.
It actually wasn't a bad pitch from Bowden Francis. It was a slider away, almost off the plate, but as we've seen so often in his career, Jose Altuve is so good at being fooled, keeping the bat back, getting the barrel to the baseball, and finding himself on base. Pretty good spot right there.
Brings up Yordan Alvarez, batting from the left side, the DH. Against the righty Francis. And the first pitch, Alvarez fouls off, up and over the backstop, 0-1 count. Alvarez batting .213 on the season.
And Jose Altuve has 3 stolen bases this season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to take off here.
Francis looks in at the sign from Alejandro Kirk and delivers with the fastball at 92 and ahead in the count again, 0-2.
I like that Francis is not afraid to come inside to Yordan Alvarez. Again, he's a big guy, a lot like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Loves to get the hands extended. It's good to tie him up with a fastball inside.
The 0-2 pitch up high on a fastball, missed way high. It's 1-2. Alvarez, couple of home runs on the season. 12 runs batted in. Haven't really seen much movement yet at first from Altuve, who led off the game with a single moments ago. The 1-2 pitch. And this one is slapped into right field. Another base hit for the Astros. It's picked up in right field by Barger, who gets it in quickly, holds Altuve at second, but much like last night, Houston jumping on Toronto early here in the first inning.
It wasn't a bad pitch from Bowden Francis, but the sequence became predictable. Fastball in, so you almost feel like something off speed is coming in that count, and I'm sure Yordan Alvarez was expecting something off speed. He was a little bit out in front, but was able to get the barrel of the baseball for a base hit.
So none away with 2 on. It brings up Isaac Paredes, the right-handed hitter, the third baseman for the Astros, batting .233 against Francis. Bowden turns, fires. Paredes grounds it to third, onto second for one, onto first for two. The double play is turned, and the Jays quickly have Houston with two away. Altuve does advance to third.
Well, how big is that out for Bowden Francis? Didn't really locate that fastball all that well, but Paredes hit it off the end of the bat, a little weak ground ball to third base, and a big 2 outs in this inning.
Nice scoop there at third by Wagner. Got rid of it in a hurry and started that double play ball for Toronto. So now they will try to strand Altuve at third with Jeremy Pena coming up in the first pitch in for a curveball at 72. Francis drops it in beautifully, ahead in the count 0-1. Francis, quick look over at third, turns, fires on the 0-1, swing and a miss. 0-2.
That's the split finger right there. Looks like a fastball and then just darts down below the strike zone. Jeremy Pena was way out in front of it.
He's riding a 13-game hit streak coming into tonight's tilt. Batting .333 over that span. Now he asks for time to adjust the gloves.
I throw that thing again if I'm Bowden Francis. Not in the same location. Get it a little bit lower. Preferably in the dirt.
Francis fires. Looked like it might have caught the outside edge, but it's called a ball. Well, fastball just missing.
They were trying to come up with a fastball up above the strike zone. Like you said, Bowden Francis missed his spot by quite a bit.
It's now 1-2. Altuve with the lead at third, not being held on. Francis turns, fires on the 1-2. That one's good to go. He strikes out Pena to end the inning, and the Blue Jays get out of a jam. We go to the second inning, no score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NFL Draft is officially open.
Hear every pick of the NFL Draft on SiriusXM. NFL Radio will be live in Green Bay as Rick Neuheisel, Jim Miller, and Pat Kerwin provide instant analysis.
There's 32 draft boards, and none of them duplicate any other club.
As well as exclusive interviews with coaches, executives, and players.
First pick in the NFL Draft. Very honored.
Listen to every round of the NFL Draft starting tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the SiriusXM app.
Baseball is back. It's former general manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former big league GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
From dramatic walk-offs.
This ball is crushed into the trees. Grand slam.
To jaw-dropping web gems.
A diving catch over the shoulder by Johnson.
College softball and baseball are heating up, and you can catch the action on SiriusXM. Hear live play-by-play from the nation's top conferences and powerhouse programs all season long. Stay connected to the action on SiriusXM or streaming anytime on the SiriusXM app. For a complete schedule of games, go to SiriusXM.com/sports. In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Radio Network.
Second inning, no score. Jays and Astros. This inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. George Springer up, swinging at the first pitch, and it is sky high, but thankfully up and over the backstop, about 10-15 rows deep, an 0-1 count.
Well, he missed a good pitch to hit right there. It was a fastball at 93 on the inner third. Just fouling that pitch back.
Gusto set for the 0-1 pitch. Springer tries to jump on that one, fouls it off down the first base right field side, and he's down 0-2.
And that pitch there was right down the middle. He was right on that pitch, just missed it, fouled it off to the right side, but I guarantee he'll tell you that he should have drilled that pitch.
Gusto with the 0-2 pitch down Main Street, popped up, and this one's in fair territory. Behind the plate, underneath it, Yainer Diaz makes the snag, one away.
And that's just 3 very hittable fastballs from Gusto. George Springer kind of slowly walking back to the dugout, shaking his head a little bit, but those are the types of pitches, those are the types of mistakes that you have to do damage on if you want to get out of this 4-game skid.
Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you in the Timber Mart broadcast booth. We're here in the top half of the second inning. No score. As Andres Jimenez comes up to the plate. First pitch from Gusto, high outside, 1-0 count. Jimenez batting .189, has 3 home runs, 8 runs batted in 24 games with the Jays. Second pitch from Gusto, down low, missed with the changeup. And Jimenez ahead in the count, 2-0.
Andres Jimenez was 0 for 4 in last night's ball game with a strikeout, like you said, hitting .189. He does have 7 stolen bases, though, so he's still providing a little bit of impact out there when he does get on base.
0 for 11 over his last 3 games. Trying to change that right here. He takes a cut at the third pitch, fouls it off. It's a 2-1 count. Alejandro Kirk on deck. The 2-1 delivery. Another one slapped foul, this time down the third base side. Deep into the stands, it's 2-2.
Ryan Gusto is making just his 3rd career start. This is his first season. 2025 was his first big league season. Was drafted in 2019 by the Astros in the 11th round out of Florida Southwestern State Junior College.
The 2-2 from Gusto, high outside, it's 3-2. Missed with the fastball, clocked at 96. Seems like there's a lot of guys in the 10th, 12th, 14th, 19th round that you've been telling me about the last few nights from the Houston Astros. The 3-2 pitch fouled off. Jimenez stays alive. We'll do it again at 3-2.
Well, they're notorious. They have a really good player development system, kind of like the Tampa Bay Rays, where they're able to find guys, develop them, and then they turn into really special players. Ronel Blanco is one of those guys. He signed for $5,000.
Should be working in radio. The 3-2 pitch sent into left field, into left center. A base hit for Jimenez, and the Jays get a man on with 1 away here in the second.
Well, that's a very, very good swing on a cutter on the outside part of the plate. Hammered that baseball the other way. I guarantee that he's going to try to take second. Now 7 stolen bases on the season for Jimenez. As he gets that running glove on that they call it.
So Alejandro Kirk digs in now. Kirk batting .224 on the season. The first pitch from Gusto catches the inside edge on a fastball. It's an 0-1 count. Kirk with 1 home run in 18 games this season. Would love to get a hold of one right here. Gusto with the 0-1 pitch. Down Main Street. Kirk just looks at it go by on the sinker, and it's an 0-2 count.
I actually saw this little tidbit of information on the internet the other day. I don't know if it's true, but I'll tell you about it in a second.
The 0-2 pitch, and Kirk reaches out and slaps one out into right center. Underneath it to make the grab is Chas McCormick. He records the out, tosses it in, 2 away.
So you know the oven mitt that they put on? It's called a sliding mitt.
Yep.
I guess in kids baseball, Little League now, they changed it from sliding mitt to running mitt because nobody slides head first in Little League. So why call it a sliding mitt? They're calling it just a running mitt now. I mean, is that true? I have no idea, but it's kind of interesting.
Well, you've been coaching some little leaguers recently. Are you teaching them to dive head first?
Well, no, I'm not advocating for sliding head first as a little leaguer. I think that's a terrible idea. But it's interesting that they just they said we're not calling it a sliding mitt, we're calling it a running mitt now. Why wear it then?
Addison Barger at the plate now, down in the count 0-1 after the first pitch came in on the fastball from Ryan Gusto. Gusto now keeping an eye on Jimenez. has yet to take off. And obviously, you'd love to get him in scoring position, especially now with 2 away here in the top of the second inning. Barger, the lefty against the righty Gusto, looks at the second pitch way down low. No good. It's 1-1.
That's a good take on a pretty good changeup from Gusto. He's got a mid-90s fastball, and then that changeup is about 88, 89 with a decent amount of life when it crosses home plate.
The 1-1. Jimenez takes off, got a pretty good jump, slides in there ahead of the throw. He got the hands down onto the bag first, and Jimenez with his 8th stolen base of the season.
Well, I think the Astros might take a look at this. It looked like Jeremy Pena had a tag down on him before Jimenez touched second base. I could be wrong, but
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think the Astros are going to take a look at this, but they obviously saw the slow motion replay. We're about to see it now. Nah, he got in there.
And now Barger ahead in the count, 3-1.
Good thing he was wearing that sliding mitt.
We saw in game 1 George Springer take off for third and take 2 stolen bases. I don't think that Jimenez will be doing that right here as Barger rips one into right field, but unfortunately it's straight at Zach DeZenzo, who records the out and shuts down the Jays. So we head to the bottom of the second inning, no score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
Gary, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong Bird Food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at ArmstrongBirdFood.com.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep. Because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Timber Mart is Canada's Building Center. Your home team advantage with the right materials and the right price. Project know-how that's brought together a wealth of plans and solid advice. Trust your team at your locally owned Timber Mart. Find your location at timbermart.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swinging a high fly ball, deep left field. At the wall, it's gone.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Getting set to start the bottom half of the second inning, no score in Houston. Astros and Jays, third of 3 down in Texas. And starting things off, Christian Walker here in the home half of the second for the Astros. Fouls off the first pitch from Bowden Francis. Down on the count now, 0-1. Walker batting .188 this season, does have 2 home runs, coming off a 3-for-3 night last night, and he's looking to get things rolling again tonight, and he will on a solo shot to left field, up and over that tall wall in left. It's 1-0 Houston.
Well, that's just a mistake from Bowden Francis. It was a curveball in an 0-1 count. You want that thing to be at the bottom of the strike zone. Bowden Francis just left it hanging over the middle of the plate. And Christian Walker was 3-for-3 last night, like you mentioned. Obviously seeing the baseball very well right now. And he hammered that baseball, that hanging curveball from Francis.
So Houston again strikes first, as they have in this series overall. And the Blue Jays will have to play catch up yet again. Yainer Diaz steps up for the Astros. Batting .155, had a decent night last night as well. And he's down on the count 0-1 as Francis delivers a fastball clocked at 91. The 0-1 pitch down low in the dirt outside. It's 1-1.
Christian Walker obviously is struggling this year coming into the ball game, hitting just 188. But in 2022, with the Arizona Diamondbacks, he had 36 homers. 2023, with the Diamondbacks again, he had 33 homers. So the guy's got a ton of pop.
Inside, Francis missing with the splitter. It's 2-1 now to Diaz.
So again, if you just leave a hanging breaking ball, he's bound to run into it and hit that ball a mile.
And now Diaz goes opposite field as he gets a hold of one. Barger on his horse, sliding into the corner. Can't come up with the catch. It bobbles off his glove, ricochets towards the wall. Diaz on his horse gets all the way around to third. And Houston trying to do some damage here in the bottom of the second.
Well, that's just a tough play in that corner in right field. There's only about 3 or 4 feet from the foul line to a wall over there in foul territory. So if you're running full speed, it's pretty scary over there as a right fielder. You can see that Addison Barger slides feet first, hits off his foot, and kind of bounces away. Yainer Diaz was able to get to third base on the play.
So still none out. A home run and a triple for the Astros to start this second inning as Zach DeZenzo steps in. And the first pitch from Francis, well outside, missed with the curveball, 1-0 count. DeZenzo batting .222 on the season in 8 games. We saw him in the opener. Didn't play last night. The 1-0. Caught the bottom part of the zone on a fastball. It's 1-1.
And the Blue Jays have actually brought the infield in. That tells you everything you need to know about how John Schneider feels about this offense right now. We're in the second inning. It's a 1-0 ball game, and there's a guy at third base.
The 1-1 pitch. DeZenzo gets underneath one, sends it high toward right field. It's going to make its way into the stands. A good 8-10 rows deep, and he's now down on the count 1-2.
So John Schneider is telling everybody that's watching this game right now, I don't have a ton of faith in this offense that they're going to score 3, 4, 5 runs in this ball game. Infield is in, trying to cut that runoff from third base.
And the Astros in this series batting .348 with runners in scoring position. DeZenzo's trying to add to that right now. Down low, Francis misses with the splitter. It's 2-2.
That's a good pitch. If I'm Bowden Francis, I am definitely trying to strike out DeZenzo. I don't want him putting the bat on the baseball and potentially getting something through that drawn-in infield.
Houston leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. None out and a man on. The 2-2 pitch is sent into right field. Base hit for DeZenzo. Houston scores another one. It's 2-0 Astros.
He hit his spot. They were trying to come inside. You could see Alejandro Kirk was set up right on the black on the inside corner as Pete Walker comes out to talk to Bowden Francis. He hit his spot. He jammed DeZenzo, and DeZenzo was able to kind of just muscle that thing into right field for the second run of the ball game.
Do you buy into the theory or the superstition of certain teams have certain guys' number? Because, year to year, obviously lineups and players can change and whatnot, but do you buy into that or not? Because I've got a number for you.
I think I just think it's coincidental.
Okay. In 2 games last year against the Astros, Bowden Francis gave up 10 runs, and the Astros hit .382 against him.
It's a different guy, though. That was early on in the season when Bowden Francis was still trying to kind of figure himself out. And I believe it was Houston and then New York. I think I'm not looking at his history right now. I'm just trying to remember. And he was a completely different guy. Didn't locate the fastball. Didn't have the split finger that was really good.
Mauricio Dubon comes up, the number 8 hitter in the Houston lineup. Fouls one straight back on the first pitch. Got a piece of that fastball. Down on the count, 0-1.
Now, with that being said, there's guys that position players, pitchers, whatever it is.
Francis with the 0-1 pitch. Dubon got a piece of one and fouls it up and over the first base dugout over the Astros dugout. It ricochets about 8 rows deep, and he's down in the count 0-2.
There's guys where it begins to be a mental thing where, let's say Bowden Francis has another bad start at Daikin Field or Minute Maid, whatever it's called. He starts to think, maybe I just can't pitch well here. Right. Maybe I don't feel comfortable here. Maybe this lineup has my number, and then it starts to kind of snowball on him. Maybe it's the same thing for position players. But I think the majority of the time it's just coincidental.
Getting set for the 0-2 pitch. Dubon digs in. Francis fires, and Dubon gets a hold of one. Sends it into left center for a bloop single. And Houston keeps rolling here. None down in the bottom of the second. Almost every hit, if I'm not mistaken, has come with 2 strikes for Francis.
Yeah, and that just tells me that Bowden Francis has to expand out of the strike zone. Those 2 fastballs, one to DeCenzo, and then the second one to Dubon. I think those are just too hittable. I think they're too much in the strike zone. Good pitches, yes, they're on the black on the inside, but you have to go up out of the strike zone or below the strike zone, and then you'll get the swings and misses.
So 2 on, none out in the bottom of the second. Chas McCormick steps up to the plate now, the number 9 hitter for the Astros. Altuve, top of the order on deck. The pitch to McCormick. He shows bunt, lays one down beautifully toward the third base side. It's picked up by Francis. He throws to third, not in time, as DeCenzo slides in safely. And unless the Jays want to challenge this, the bases are loaded with none away.
Well, Bowden Francis was on the third base side going away from first base. Even if he fields that ground ball, turns around and tries to throw Chas McCormick out at first base, there's no way he gets him. At third base was really his only play. I mean, he looks safe to me watching that replay. I don't know if the Blue Jays are going to take a look or not, but he looks safe to me.
I would agree with you.
That was really his only play. It's too bad that that's his only play. Will Wagner had the chance to come in, field that ground ball, and get the guy at first base, but he chose to kind of stop and go back to third base just in case Bowden Francis made that throw to third base.
Bases juiced, none out. Altuve comes up. Big cut on the first pitch, and he whiffs through the curveball 0-1.
And there's still nobody out in this inning. The bases are loaded. We're in the bottom of the second inning. The Houston Astros are already leading this ball game 2-0.
It all started with a solo shot for Christian Walker, and Houston's continued to pile on since. It's popped sky high at shortstop. Making the snag is Bo Bichette, one away.
Well, that's a big out in this inning. Now you can potentially go for a strikeout. You can potentially go for the double play here, especially with Yordan Alvarez coming up. If he hits the ball on the ground, he's an easy double play candidate, but he's still a guy that can drive the ball into the gap.
1 down now here in the bottom of the second. Houston already scoring 2 runs in the inning and threatening to do a lot more with the bases loaded, 1 down. This will be pitch number 30 for Francis. And Alvarez just got a hold of one, sends it deep to center field, back on the track about 2 feet in front of the wall. Springer makes the snag, but tagging and scoring is Zach DeCenzo, so Houston puts another one on the board. It's 3-0 Astros.
Well, I think Bowden Francis got lucky there. It was a fastball that they were trying to get up and in at the hands of Yordan Alvarez. Left it right over the middle about belt high, and Yordan Alvarez was sitting on that fastball, hammered it to center field, and like you said, maybe 5 feet from that wall in center field. Still scores a run, though.
Dubon advances to third. McCormick up to second. So the Astros now have second and third with 2 away and a 3-0 lead. First pitch to Isaac Paredes, in for a strike and an 0-1 count. You wanted it, and now you've got it. A guaranteed chance to win every life-changing draw. For the first time ever, you can become a Jays Care 50/50 member and automatically enter every jackpot this season. Plus, you'll be supporting kids in our community. Go to BlueJays.com/50/50. Paredes over to first. Nice snag by Vladdy Guerrero, who makes the grab, trots over to first, steps on the bag, and gets Toronto out of the inning. But Houston scores 3. Astros up 3-0 as we head to the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big challenges. The two men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Authorized by the Chief Agent of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, 3-3-6-5. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
You know you make me wanna.
Hi, this is Ernie Clement, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on Sportsnet Radio Network.
Don't forget to say you will.
Third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Rhinefeld, Manitoba, and Kenora. Crown, is proud to be Canadian and operated since 1986. Protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center or visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. I think I had some rust on the pipes on that one.
You need some rust protection.
Apparently. First pitch outside to Wagner. Second one comes inside, catches the inside edge with a fastball. It's good for a strike and a 1-1 count. Wagner batting .212 this season, looking to get things started for the Jays, and they're playing comeback again, down 3-0. Wagner slaps at the 1-1, sends it foul straight back into the backstop. It's 1-2.
Pretty good swing right there from Will Wagner. A fastball right down Broadway. He just missed it, fouling it straight back.
Gusto looks in at Diaz for the sign. The 1-2 pitch down low, 2-2. Here comes the 2-2 pitch from Gusto. Way up high, missed badly on that one. And Wagner now standing at a 3-2 count. On deck, Alan Roden. The leg kick and delivery on the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Wagner sits down. There's one away.
Well, he absolutely blew him away with that fastball. 94 miles an hour at the top of the strike zone. Will Wagner shaking his head, walking back to that dugout. That's a pitch that you should at least foul off, if not drive it. He just swung right through it.
So Alan Roden now comes up for the Blue Jays. Bottom of the order. One out here. Blue Jays trailing 3-0. Roden tries to go after the first pitch. Sends a two-hopper out to short. It's kind of up the middle, but it's cut off by the shortstop, Jeremy Pena, who scoops it up, throws to first, records the out, and the Blue Jays quickly have two away.
Well, Jeremy Pena was playing almost right behind second base. Pretty easy play for him. He's really smooth over there. Nice little easy throw to first base for the out.
On the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill, 14:20 left in the second period, and Washington leads Montreal 2-1 in the National Hockey League playoffs. Bo Bichette jumps on the first pitch that he sees, sends it deep to center field, but not deep enough as Chaz McCormick makes the grab just in front of the track to sit down the Blue Jays 1-2-3. On to the bottom of the third we go. Houston leading 3-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NBA playoffs are here, and every night on SiriusXM NBA Radio, we're breaking it all down.
They pass it, they shoot it. Defensively, they have zero weaknesses.
After the games, your expert analysis of all the key moments.
This was the type of game that every fan of basketball is begging for.
And join the discussion.
Let me tell you something. I am hyped up.
We're live every night of the NBA playoffs. on SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Out of here! Go hey, Ohtani Connect!
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
We begin our quest for another championship right now. Winning is everything. It's all there is.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed strike three and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
In a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and always on the SiriusXM app.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. At a home run on your next home improvement for a great selection of renovation products and quality brands. Timber Mart has the project for you. The bases are loaded for a Grand Slam project. Batter up. Timber Mart is Canada's building center.
Real smooth.
Think so. I would say we're going to give Timber Mart another run, because Timber Mart, as awesome as they are, says, you know what, Eric, you need to bust out the toolbox and try and put a renovation on that promo read that you just did. As Jeremy Pena pulls even in the count now at 1-1. I think it's actually somewhat prophetic that I butcher the Timber Mart read. Because I have absolutely zero handyman skills. Like, I mean less than zero. I can't even hang a picture straight.
But you still wear Carhartt.
I wear what?
Never mind.
I don't even know what that is. Pena now down on the count, 1-2. As Francis comes back with the 1-2 pitch, another splitter. That one down low in the dirt. It's 2-2.
Yeah, he's starting to throw the split finger just a little bit more. He was relying on the fastball and the curveball early on in the ball game. Now he's really starting to throw that split.
And now Pena jumps on one, sends it to right field, but about 4 feet in front of the track, Barger makes the grab, one away. Hit a home run on your next home improvement. For a great selection of renovation products and quality brands, Timber Mart has the bases loaded for a Grand Slam on every project. Batter up. Timber Mart is Canada's building center.
You are so back.
Man. I'm going to be seeing Timber Mart in my dreams tonight. I'll be building a shed. One out here. Third inning. Astros leading 3-0 as Christian Walker steps in. He's the man that got the scoring going for the Astros last inning with a solo shot. Down in the count, 0-1. After the fastball from Francis, Bowden comes back inside, just missed with another fastball. It's 1-1.
Well, in his last at-bat, when he hit that home run, it was just a hanging breaking ball from Bowden Francis. I can almost guarantee that he won't throw that pitch this time.
Two and one now, as Francis missed again inside. We have a regular listener, Ryan, passing along a message to me that, hey, just so you know, it's also the Stanley Cup playoffs, not the NHL playoffs. So apparently we're now keeping score on Eric Smith mistakes. Timber Mart, 1. Stanley Cup playoffs, 2.
Even I knew that, and I'm not a hockey guy.
Oh, of course you knew it. You don't make any mistakes. You just wait to throw me under the bus whenever you can. The 3-1 count, and this one sent into left field, and Walker continues with the hot stick. He's on base now with one away here in the third.
Well, he's 5 for his last 5 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Another hanging pitch. That one was a split finger, almost right down the middle. Christian Walker was just a little bit out in front, but was able to hammer that ball in the left field for the base hit.
Yainer Diaz now steps in for the Astros. Diaz with the triple in his last at-bat last inning. That was the one that was sent into the right field corner that ricocheted off the leg of Addison Barger before Barger had to track it down, and Diaz was out there running laps around the bases. He fouls off the first pitch. It's 0-1. 1 out in the third and a 3-0 Houston lead. Francis looks over at Walker at first. The leg kick and the delivery. And this one is popped up by Diaz. Over to Vladdy at first base. Camps underneath it. Makes the easy snag. 2 away.
Bowden Francis can get through 6 innings, giving up just 3 runs. I think that's a win for him. That's a quality start. He's at 44 pitches now in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And he's looking a little better this inning. He's really locating his pitches better. He's not leaking that fastball over the middle of the plate.
First pitch a little bit too high on the curveball from Francis to Zach DeZenzo. 1-0 count. DeZenzo, another player who had hit last inning, was part of that rally for the Astros when they scored 3. 1-0 pitch down low outside. 2-0. Christian Walker at first after his base hit earlier in this inning. DeZenzo up 2-0 in the count with Mauricio Dubon on deck. Francis looks in at the sign from Alejandro Kirk. The leg kick and the delivery. That went outside as well. Kirk whips it down to first. Just trying to keep Christian Walker honest. And DeZenzo now well up in the count, 3-0.
And you have to be careful here, especially with those Crawford boxes out in left field. DeZenzo's going to be sitting dead red, so if you throw that heater right down the middle, he's going to be ready for it.
The 3-0 catches the inside edge on a fastball at 91. 3-1 count.
Pretty good pitch. Right on the black, almost unhittable. Even if DeZenzo was swinging the bat, he wouldn't have done much with that.
Here's the 3-1 delivery, fouled off by DeZenzo down the first base line into right field, into the stands. And now 3-2. So we'll see if Francis can get out of this one right here with 2 out in the 3rd inning, man on, and a 3-2 count. Francis comes set. Turns, fires on the 3-2 pitch. Gets him looking, and Francis gets out of the inning. A huge strikeout for Bowden Francis. And we head to the 4th inning with the Blue Jays trailing 3-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's NFL Draft Week, and the place to stay informed is SiriusXM NFL Radio.
What if the guy you really do target is gone?
Our experts are breaking down the needs for all 32 teams.
Even if somehow at 21 you draft a quarterback, is that the guy you want to take with you right now?
And you'll hear
What's up, hockey fans, basketball fans, sports fans from all over the world? Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We have 7 live streams, every single NBA and NHL playoff game tonight. Man, we got some good ones on tab. Montreal and Washington, Dallas, Colorado, Edmonton, and LA. What a night we have of hockey and basketball. Boston, Orlando. Should be a decent matchup. Memphis, Oklahoma City. The list goes on and on. And oh yeah, the Blue Jays are playing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for helping us create this amazing community where we chat it up, cheer on our favorite teams, and make a difference. With Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto, what a night we had last night during the Blue Jays game and the Maple Leafs game and the other streams. We raised over $305 directly to Sick Kids Hospital on the website. An amazing phone call with Sick Kids Hospital today. Lots of shout outs coming during the Leafs Game 3 tomorrow. That's what I'm getting ready for, as well as running all these fun live streams. We appreciate you being here. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're new, turn on that bell. We're almost at 100K. Let us know where you're watching from in the chat, and thanks for keeping it classy. Cheers. We'll see you back in the chat. Good luck to your team.
You're looking for a spokesman, call the Fan 590 sales department and ask for Chris LaRue. Top of the fourth inning, Blue Jays trailing 3-0. And we're getting set for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to dig in. The first pitch to Vladdy, down low, outside, 1-0 count.
Could you tell that I turned on the radio for you?
No, not at all.
Nice.
Not at all. Vladdy looks at the second pitch. He thought about it, but then didn't pull the trigger, and he was smart to hold off. It was outside, 2-0 count.
And now if you're Vlad, you're sitting dead red. Fastball right down the middle.
Here's the 2-0 pitch, and it was indeed a fastball. Well, maybe a sinker, but either way, Vladdy sent it into left field for a base hit, and he looks up at the heavens and says, thankfully, as he kind of gets off the schneid to get on base, and we'll see if this can ignite a rally for the Blue Jays.
Well, he didn't hit it all that hard. It actually jammed him. It was a fastball in off the plate, and you could see him actually fist pump after that ball made it through on the left side. A big hit for him, I'm sure.
Time now for Anthony Santander to do the same. Would love to see him get going with Vladdy at first, none down. First pitch high outside from Gusto to Santander. Hey, I gave a shout out last inning to one of our regular listeners, Ryan. Also a shout out to Keith and Marion, listening right now in Southern Ontario. So thanks to Keith and Marion. The 1-0 pitch to Santander, up high, no good, 2-0 count.
Longtime listeners. Well, 2 years now.
No, more than that. Probably 22 years. It's in the blood. Santander stares down Gusto, who comes with the 2-0 pitch, and a big cut from Santander. Couldn't catch up with the fastball, clocked at 94. The count sits at 2-1.
Well, you can tell what he wanted to do with that pitch. He was ahead in the count, 2-0. And he basically told himself, I'm swinging no matter what. That fastball was way up out of the zone.
The 2-1. Santander, same spot, same result. Couldn't catch up with it. 94 up high in the zone, and it's 2-2.
Just blew his doors off with 94. That's a pitch that when Santander is going right, he hammers that pitch, especially ahead in the count, 2-1.
What are you coming back with now?
Probably a fastball up, out of the zone, something that he can't really do much with. He's shown that he can't catch up to the fastball. And I'm sure Santander is thinking something off speed right now.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball up high, missed outside, though it's 3-2.
If that pitch was located, it was a fastball arm side high out. It was a ball out of the hand, so Santander recognized that and laid off. But if that pitch is right down the middle but above the strike zone, I guarantee he would have swung at it.
Trying to keep Vladdy honest at first. Gusto tosses it over. Vladdy's forced to dive back into the bag. Santander steps back into the box, digs in, getting set for the 3-2 pitch. Top four, Jays trailing 3-0. None out with a man on. Gusto just struck out Santander. He chased one outside. One away.
I mean, that's a pitch that he really shouldn't be swinging at. But like I said, if you see a hitter just being blown away pitch after pitch by a fastball, why speed his bat up, throw something soft, and make it easier on him? Just throw that four-seamer well located right there.
He was way late, too.
I mean, a pitch that he shouldn't be swinging at, first of all, because it's a ball out of the hand. If you're going right, you recognize that, and you don't swing at that pitch.
Brings up George Springer now. First pitch. Outside, a little bit low. 1-0 count to Springer, batting .328. 0 for 1 in this ball game. Does have a couple of home runs on the season. Vladdy over at first again with one away. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. A big cut from Springer. Count stands at 1-1.
That is a hanging pitch right there. George Springer kind of walking around. I'm sure he knew that he should have barreled that ball up, but that is right down the middle. Just swings and misses on it.
Gusto looks in at the sign from Diaz. Pitch number 47 right here, the 1-1. Down low in the dirt, 2-1. You think Vladdy considers trying to take off or not?
No.
I don't mind. I got to ask the question.
Should I elaborate on that?
You can if you want. I've seen him do it before, but why wouldn't he right now? The 2-1 slapped hard past a diving Isaac Paredes at third. It makes its way into the corner. Turning the corner all the way to third is Vladdy, and he's going to make his way home. He slides in safely, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets on the horse and scores for the Blue Jays on an RBI double for George Springer. Blue Jays trailing 3-1.
That was a good swing from George Springer. You could see him laughing with Mauricio Dubon right now. That was just a hanging cutter right down the middle, and he hammered it down the line. But the reason why I said that I didn't think Vlad was going to steal in that situation is because George Springer is seeing the baseball well. You don't want to take the bat out of his hands. And he's ahead in the count, 2-1. If it was an 0-2 count or 1-2 count, I could see potentially Vlad trying to take off in that situation.
First pitch to Jimenez, in for a strike. Gusto throws in the curveball.
But like I said, in a fastball count like that, when a hitter's ahead, especially when he's a hot hitter like George Springer, you don't want to take the bat out of his hands. You just want to let him swing the bat.
And Springer did just that. Coming through again with the double to cash in Vladdy. Turned on the Jets and scored all the way from first base. Toronto being out hit tonight 8-3, being outscored 3-1, but looking for more right now with a runner in scoring position. It's Springer out at second. Jimenez even in the count now at 1-1. Gusto turns, fires. Jimenez fouls it off, and it actually went straight down and into the foot, I believe, of Yainer Diaz. Caught him in a spot without some padding. Oof. And he gets up and kind of hops and skips and jumps away from the play for a second, trying to walk it off.
Yeah, he has obviously protection. He has catcher's equipment on those shin pads, but there's about a half an inch at the end of that foot pad that exposes the toe, and I'm pretty sure that's where he got hit. That's a tough place to get hit.
And he is understandably kind of hunched over right now in a lot of pain, trying to flex out that right foot, trying to make sure he's okay.
John Libka, home plate umpire, actually walked by him and kind of patted him on the top of the head. Yeah, he's not feeling good right now. Would you rather get hit on the inner thigh? Like, I'm pretty sure he got hit on the inner thigh yesterday. Or that might have been Alejandro Kirk, or the toe?
I take the thigh, even though I've got chicken legs. There's still at least a little bit of flesh there, not straight bone on the toe. I'm going to guess that Yainer Diaz isn't going to have a toenail for the next 2 months. The 1-2 pitch fouled off by Jimenez, so we'll do it again at 1-2. Springer out at second. Blue Jays trailing 3-1. There's just one out here in the top of the fourth inning. The pitch down low, but Jimenez chased after it, swings and misses. He strikes out, and there's two away.
That is a big pitch from Gusto. A changeup below the strike zone. It's a big run standing out at second base. The Blue Jays are back in this ball game, down just 3-1 now. Now you have 2 outs with a guy in scoring position. A little tougher job for Alejandro Kirk here.
Fourth strikeout of the game for Gusto as he tries to work against Kirk. 0 for 1 in this ball game. Flew it to center field in his first and only at bat. The sweeper outside, 1-0 count. Kirk batting .221 on the season. As he stares down Gusto and then takes a big cut and whiffs on the sweeper. It's 1-1.
Blue Jays are 0 for 5 in the series with runners in scoring position. Let's see if they can get their first hit here in Houston.
Gusto looks in at the sign from Diaz. Quick glance at second at Springer. Turns, fires on the 1-1. And it's popped up by Kirk. On the first base side, in foul territory, underneath it to make the grab is Christian Walker, and that will do it for the Blue Jays. But they do get one. Houston leading 3-1 as we head to the bottom half of the fourth. You are listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
One of the best in the game at receiving the ball.
He's about as good of a strike zone controller as the Blue Jays have.
To a team of elite defenders, he is Captain Kirk, a game caller in unison with this pitcher.
Does he ever have a knowledge of the strike zone?
Framing pitches with precision and a steady hand.
Kirk's done it again.
Be one of the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark on Wednesday, April 30th to get your Alejandro Kirk bobble arm. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Lights up, let's go.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big challenges. The two men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Authorized by the Chief Agent of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Breaking news coming in from Bet35. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Hola, soy Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Está escuchando a Toronto Blue Jays Baseball en la radio de Sportsnet.
Bottom of the fourth inning from the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. Julia Kreutz at baseball control. Our engineer, Tom Young. Our producer, Nick Blackmore. As we are approaching the midway point of this game with the Houston Astros leading 3-1. Toronto just got one in the top half of this inning. And now we'll see if Francis can maybe shut down the Astros quickly and get the bats back in the hands of the Jays in the top of the fifth. Mauricio Dubon leading things off for the Astros. Check swing off the handle of the bat. It's a foul ball, 0-1 count.
Dubon is 1 for 1 in this ballgame. 207 on the season. No homers, but 2 RBIs.
Staring straight back at Francis right now, getting set for that 0-1 delivery. Here it is. Inside on the fastball, 1-1. Francis turns, fires on the 1-1. It's sent straight back, to Bowden. Gets by him, but it's picked up at second by Jimenez. Has to quickly hurry to first to record the out. It was kind of botched twice. A bobble from Francis, a bobble at second from Jimenez, but then a very strong throw to get Dubon at first.
And Dubon runs really well, too. So it's a good thing that Andres Jimenez quickly got that ball. Threw a strike to Vlad at first base. The Out-of-Town Scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. 100% Canadian owned and operated since 1992. Every Tuesday night, wings are just half price. Visit stlouiswings.com for details. You are welcome.
All right, how about Baltimore trailing Washington 3-1, top of the seventh?
How about some good news? Boston is trailing Seattle 6-2.
That's good news as well. Jays, they'll have to do their job and come back and win this ball game. Chance to maybe make up a little bit of ground in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's 2-1 Washington leading Montreal with 2:25 left in the second period.
How about those shots on goal number? 26 for Washington, just 11 for Montreal.
1-1 count. Francis comes into McCormick inside a little bit low as well. It's 2-1. Chaz McCormick, the right-handed hitting center fielder, the number 9 hitter in the Houston lineup. He's 1 for 1 in the ball game. Had a bunt single in his last at bat. Just whiffed badly on the 2-1 pitch moments ago. It's now 2-2.
Brennan Little and Dylan Tate are both warming up in that left field bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays. Bowden Francis at 57 pitches in the bottom of the fourth inning.
And now this one sent sky high by McCormick toward third base. Running in to keep it himself, though, is Bo Bichette, who makes the grab. There are 2 away.
And I think that's just a precaution. Bowden Francis has slowly started to look better in this ball game. Ever since he started mixing in that split finger just a little bit more. He gave up 3 runs in the second inning, the bottom of the second inning. A little bit started to throw pitches down the middle of the plate, missing his spots with that fastball, but he's definitely looked better since then.
Top of the order now for the Astros with 2 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Jose Altuve, 1 for 2 in the ball game. And he slaps at the first pitch, sends it foul down the first base side, 0-1 count. This will be the 60th pitch coming right here for Francis as he turns and fires well high outside. Missed on the fastball, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch is off the end of the bat by Altuve. It's scooped up by Vladdy. Covering at first is Francis, who makes the grab, steps on the bag, and gets Altuve by a step. So the Blue Jays have a quick inning, and we go to the top of the 5th with Toronto trailing by 2. It's 3-1 Houston. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This is Trey Anastasio from Fish.
Fish is known for legendary live performances.
The thing that I like the most is that everybody says yes to every idea.
And on-stage improvisation.
When I walk on stage, I've trained myself to go completely blank.
Dive into their weird and wonderful world with exclusive commentary and shows hosted by band members.
There's a lot more preparation than might be seen, but there's also a lot more abandoned than might be believed.
Fish Radio, Channel 29, and at home with the SiriusXM app.
From dramatic walk-offs.
This ball is crushed into the trees. Grand slam.
To jaw-dropping web gems.
A diving catch over the shoulder by Johnson.
College softball and baseball are heating up, and you can catch the action on SiriusXM. Hear live play-by-play from the nation's top conferences and powerhouse programs all season long. Stay connected to the action on SiriusXM or streaming anytime on the SiriusXM app. For a complete schedule of games, go to SiriusXM.com/sports.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Out of here! Yohei Ohtani Connect.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
We begin our quest for another championship right now. Winning is everything. It's all there is.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Hi, this is Alexa. Did you know you can listen to this game on devices with Amazon Alexa? Download the SiriusXM app, then tell me to play the Blue Jays on SiriusXM
Network.
5th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. Blue Jays trailing 3-1. Top of the 5th inning, Addison Barger. And the first pitch missing outside on a curveball from Gusto, 1-0 counts.
Gusto kind of tilting his head, looking in at John Libka, the home plate umpire, didn't like that call.
Here's the 1-0. Back with a fastball sent straight up the middle, but the defense was set up perfectly as Pena scoops it up at short, throws over to first to get Barger, 1 away.
Yeah, the defense was shaded to right field, so shortstop Jeremy Pena was playing almost behind second base, taking that base hit away from Addison Barger.
On the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, Washington leads 2-1 at the end of 2 periods against the Montreal Canadiens.
And the Kings and Oilers are playing later tonight. Are you going to be watching that game?
I'll probably watch that. Yeah. Going to have to keep an eye on the NBA playoffs as well. Give you a couple of scores there in a moment as Will Wagner has a 1-0 count. It's now 1-1 as Gusto comes in with a fastball. The Boston Celtics up 66-58 with 5:20 to go in the third quarter against the Orlando Magic. And Cleveland with a 17-point lead over the Miami Heat at the half. 68-51 later on tonight, Golden State, Houston. 2-1 now. Wagner looks at another ball on a fastball that missed outside from Gusto. And Wagner would love to get on here. See if the Jays can get something going here in the 5th inning like they did back in the 4th. fouls one off. Wagner does. It's now 2-2.
That fastball just ate him up. It was almost right down the middle, maybe shaded a little bit towards the inner third of the plate, but you're ahead in the count, 2-1. That's a fastball that you need to barrel up.
Gusto takes a deep breath. The leg kick and the delivery. Wagner fouls off another one. We'll do it again at 2-2.
Good job staying alive. A tough fastball at the top of the strike zone at 95 from Gusto.
Wagner 0 for 1 in the ballgame. Struck out in his first at-bat back in the third inning. And he fouls off another one. He's battling right now. 2-2.
Yeah, they're not messing around with Will Wagner. You can tell they're trying to pound him in with the fastball, the hard stuff. They're not messing around with any slow stuff here.
The 2-2 pitch came inside. Wagner held back. Yes, he did. It's 3-2.
And that's now 6 straight four-seam fastballs on the inside part of the plate. Obviously, there's a scouting report on Will Wagner. Threw a changeup first pitch and then 6 straight fastballs.
Big pitch coming right here from Gusto. The 3-2 delivery. Fouled off again.
Another fastball. This one was very hittable right down the middle at 93 miles an hour. Gusto got away with one there.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat coming right here. Wagner takes his helmet off for a moment, readjusts, digs back in, getting set for the 3-2 pitch. And Gusto gets him, swing and a miss on the cutter, 2 away. So Gusto gets Barger to ground out and now strikes out Wagner for the second time in this game. 5th strikeout for Gusto, and it's the bottom of the order for the Jays with number 9 hitter Alan Roden. The pitch down low in the dirt. Took a little hop actually on the curveball. Nice snag there by Diaz. 1-0 count to Roden. Roden grounded out to short in his first and only at bat. He sends this one to first. A diving snag at first base by Christian Walker. Tosses over to a covering Gusto to record the out. And that will do it for the Blue Jays. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Toronto trailing 3-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's NFL Draft Week, and Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM is talking about the impact every pick has on the sports books.
Shedeur Sanders plus 160 right now to be a top 8 pick.
How many trades and how many players drafted at each position.
Quarterbacks taken in round number 1. 2.5 is the number.
We'll even track how each pick impacts the Super Bowl odds and team win totals.
I know there's a lot of people betting on him. They're going to lose their money.
Follow the NFL Draft Thursday at 8 in the East on Sports Grid Radio, channel 159 in the car, and on the Sirius XM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on Sirius XM. We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Jack Links 500
from Talladega Superspeedway on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the car and on the Sirius XM app. For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
An exciting new era has just arrived.
In 2015, Jordan Spieth produced a year for the ages. The Masters, the U.S. Open, the ridiculous putting. Let's revisit the Golden Child's golden season. Listen to 2015, the year of Jordan Spieth. Hosted by yours truly, Colt Knost. And browse the entire catalog of golf originals. Search PGA Tour radio specials on the Sirius XM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
5th inning, Blue Jays Baseball brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Bowden Francis 61 pitches thrown as he gets set for the first one here in the bottom of the fifth. 43 of the 61 in for strikes. He has given up 8 hits and 3 runs as the Astros lead 3-1. First batter of the inning is Yordan Alvarez. Alvarez batting .224 now. 1 for 1 in the ballgame with a sack. The 1-0 pitch, low inside. It's 2-0.
And you have to be careful here with Yordan Alvarez. You can't just flip in a fastball right down the middle, 2-0. He's going to be sitting dead red, ready for anything.
Chad Green warming in the Blue Jay bullpen. The 2-0 pitch down Main Street. And Alvarez, for some reason, held off and just watched it go by.
Well, it was almost like Alvarez was expecting something else in a fastball count. He got the pitch to hit, 92 right down the middle. And he just didn't swing at it.
Apparently he's not dialed into the Blue Jays broadcast because you gave the scouting report. 3-1 though, as Francis just missed with a fastball. And we'll see what Alvarez does right here. The 3-1 delivery catches the outside edge. It's 3-2. Got him with a fastball at 93.
Alvarez didn't like that call, kind of tilting his head, looking at John Lipka. I don't know if he said anything, but he thought that was ball 4.
And the 3-2 fouled off.
They are just feeding Alvarez fastballs right now. I'm sure they're expecting him to think something off speed is coming, so they're trying to fool him with the hard stuff.
Another 3-2 pitch coming right here. Francis down Main Street, fouled off by Alvarez. Let's do it again.
That's actually a pretty good pitch coming in to a big guy like that. I've said this a lot of times with Yordan Alvarez up at the plate. It's scary to come into a big power hitter like that with the fastball, and Bowden Francis just isn't afraid.
Alvarez, the leadoff man this inning. Isaac Paredes on deck. The 3-2 pitch, another one fouled off.
6 fastballs in a row to Yordan Alvarez.
Francis takes a deep breath, turns, fires on the 3-2, high in the zone. Guess what? Fouled off again. Quite the battle going on right now between Francis and Alvarez.
Pretty good velo on that fastball, 95 from Bowden Francis. I'm sure Yordan Alvarez is thinking he has to throw that split finger at some point.
That was pitch number 70 from Francis. Let's see what he comes with on 71. Down low with another fastball. Again at 95, but again fouled off. This will be pitch number 11 coming up in this at-bat for Alvarez.
What do you think he throws here? I think he flips something different in other than a fastball.
I think he's going high heat, but you know more than me. It was high heat, but a little bit too far inside. And after a long battle, Alvarez earns the walk, and he trots down to first.
11 pitch at bat for Yordan Alvarez versus Bowden Francis. He fouled off some really tough fastballs, really well located fastballs, and then took that last one in off the plate.
Isaac Paredes steps in now with a man on, none out. The leadoff walk in this bottom half of the 5th inning. Paredes 0 for 2 in the ballgame. Trying to change that right here. Francis ahead in the count, 0-1. And now even 1-1. Wanted that call, didn't get it as he just missed down low with a splitter.
Looked like a strike to me. Really nice pitch. Alejandro Kirk thought that ball was a strike as well.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, a big cut, a big whiff. Paredes down 1-2.
Throw that pitch again. Get him to hit a weak ground ball somewhere. Quick couple of outs in this inning.
Alvarez at first. Hence the reason Chris is talking about the potential double play ball with none out here. And Paredes down in the count, 1-2. Blue Jays trailing 3-1 here in the 5th inning. Francis with the leg kick and the delivery. Down in the dirt. Nice scoop there from Alejandro Kirk to keep it in front. It's 2-2.
Well, he did throw it again. It was just out of the zone. It looked like a ball out of the hand, so an easy take for Isak Paredes. Alejandro Kirk was set up almost right down the middle. He wanted that thing at the bottom of the strike zone.
Francis looks at the sign from Kirk. Takes a quick glance, over at Alvarez at first. Now turns and fires on the 2-2 pitch. Fouled off by Paredes. Pitch number 77 for Francis. Off day tomorrow for the Blue Jays, then on to New York for the weekend for a 3-game series against the New York Yankees. And, of course, you can hear all the action right here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. The 2-2 pitch. Sent out to second, to Jimenez, over to Bichette, on to first. In time, just. And a double play ball turned by the Jays, but the Astros are going to want to look at this one.
Yeah, Isak Paredes immediately turned to the Astros dugout. I don't know what's going to happen here, but Isak Paredes is taking off his equipment right now, kind of hovering around first base. They will take a look at this. And he looks safe. He looks safe to me. We're looking at the slow motion replay.
Challenging the out call at first.
This will be a quick one. This is pretty easy.
Yeah, he's safe. So it'll be 1 out and no double play ball. Looks like Jimenez in tossing that one over, and I know he had to wait for Bichette to get there, but he wasn't able to put a lot of juice on it as a result, and that obviously impacted the ability or lack thereof for Toronto to turn that thing quickly.
Yeah, that ball was actually hit pretty hard.
Yep.
So Bo Bichette, I mean, obviously he's going to
After review, the call field is overturned. The runner is safe.
Well, there you go. It was an easy call, but Bo Bichette was kind of far from second base, and that ball was hit relatively hard, so it took a while for him to get there. Andres Jimenez kind of lobbed it at him, and like you said, as soon as he lobs it, Isak Paredes is safe at first base.
So instead of 2 out and none on, it's 1 out and 1 on for the Houston Astros here in the bottom of the 5th, with the Astros leading 3-1. Jeremy Pena now digs in. First pitch from Francis. He jumps on it, sends it toward right field. Coming in for it, head first dive, and making the snag is Addison Barger. What a grab. He was flailed out Superman style, dove head first, made a beautiful catch, and his hand kind of twisted under as well. He's getting up and flexing, and he's talking to George Springer right now as Springer's paying his respects. That was an awkward play for Barger, and he could have really done damage to that wrist. He seems like he's okay right now, but what a catch.
Yeah, I'm sure George Springer came right over to him and asked him how that wrist was feeling, but here comes John Schneider to get Bowden Francis.
So 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th with the Astros leading 3-1. This pitching change is brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Let's go back to baseball control with Julia Kreutz.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's check in on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, starting with the Stanley Cup playoffs. You hear that, Eric Smith? The Canadiens and the Capitals are facing off in Game 2 at Capital One Arena right now in D.C. The Capitals, leading 2-1, third period, starting momentarily here. The Habs jumped out on top with Christian Dvorak, taking advantage of a turnover. Capitals almost immediately, though, getting a couple of goals back in that second period to take the lead again. The Caps trying, of course, to build a 2-game lead in this series after Alex Ovechkin scored in overtime to give Washington that Game 1 win on Monday. You can catch this Game 2 action on Sportsnet. So later this evening, we have the Stars and the Avalanche who will face off in Game 3 of their series. Puck drops at 9:50 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. or 7:50 p.m. rather Mountain Time, and you can also catch the action there on Sportsnet 360. Tied series right now between Dallas and Colorado. should be a good one over in Denver. And one more team in the Stanley Cup's playoff schedule a little bit later is the Oilers, not the Orioles, the Oilers and the Kings face off in Game 2 in Los Angeles. That game is set for 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And you can catch that on Sportsnet as well. The Oilers, of course, looking to even the series after being handed a 5-0 loss or a 5-0 loss here in Game 1. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rest Protection. Let's get you back to the action with Eric and Chris.
All right, thanks very much, Julia. Great job with the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. Got to continue to hammer that one home. Keep the bosses happy as the Blue Jays trail 3-1 with Chad Green coming into the ballgame now here in the bottom of the 5th. With 2 away. We've seen the replay of that Addison Barger catch a couple more times.
I don't want to see it again.
He is extremely lucky that he didn't break his wrist. I mean, he made a beautiful catch, and then that hand completely curled under and took a lot of impact on the ground as he was sliding head first.
Well, you could see why George Springer came over and immediately asked him how he was. I mean, luckily, he's still in this ball game.
Green now ahead in the count, 0-1 against Christian Walker. Now it's even at 1-1. That play with Barger, you know, we love to tell the Weekend Warrior stories. That's how I mangled my left thumb 2 years ago and broke it, dislocated, tore it, and had surgery on that exact play. Difference is Barger made the catch and didn't mangle his wrist or thumb. I dropped the ball and had surgery.
Were you diving or were you just falling?
Diving.
Okay.
Because I'm an idiot.
I was just making sure.
I'm an idiot. In my late 40s, diving in a co-ed softball game. Yes, I'm a moron. 2-1, Chad Green. Trailing in the count to Walker. Comes back with the pitch just outside. Missed with the slider. It's now 3-1.
Chad Green on the season is 1-0. The 2.79 ERA. 11 ball games, 9 2/3 innings, 9 strikeouts.
The 3-1 pitch. It's popped up, but it's going to go straight back up and over, and Walker's frustrated with that one. He thought he missed a golden opportunity right there on the slider.
Well, that was just a hanging slider and a 3-1 count, and you can see why he's frustrated with that. That's a pitch that he can normally hammer. He's 5 for his last 5, so obviously he's seeing the baseball really well right now.
Big pitch right here from Green. The 3-2 delivery sent on a couple of hops out to short to Bichette, over to first. Records the out, and the Blue Jays get out of it. Houston still leading 3-1, though. We head to the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ home hardware and building center locations where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big challenges. The 2 men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Authorized by the Chief Agent of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Law and Order Thursday on City TV.
We're charging him with manslaughter.
3 Law and Orders on one epic night.
It was premeditated. It was planned.
Law and Order at 8.
He told me to is not a legal defense against murder.
SVU at 9.
Covering his ass, I'd start thinking about your own.
Followed by the new season of Law and Order Toronto Criminal Intent at 10.
Nothing justifies murder. How about we start with the truth?
Law and Order Thursday, all new, 8/7 Central on City TV.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
He dives, and he made the catch. The catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
6th inning, Blue Jays trailing 3-1, and we'll see if they can get the bats going again here. Try and get things started with Bo Bichette and the top of the order. 6th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. Did I steal your promo, Reed? I'm going to make you do the bottom half of the inning. First pitch swinging. Bichette gets underneath one. It's blooped into right field. A long run in, but a relatively easy grab for Zach DeZenzo, one away.
Well, that was a tough fastball. Not overly hard. It was just 91 miles an hour, but it was at the top corner on the inside part of the plate and just ate up Bo Bichette. Couldn't really do too much with it.
Gusto still throwing right now for the Astros. Ryan Gusto just hit pitch number 70 on that fly ball out from Bo Bichette. Brings up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the first pitch to Vladdy in for a strike on a fastball, clocked at 92-01. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue in the Timbermark broadcast booth in the 6th inning with the Blue Jays down by 2. Vladdy 1 for 2 in the ball game. Inside pitch, 1-1.
Well, Gusto so far in this ball game, 5 1/3 innings, just 1 earned run, 3 hits. The most impressive thing is no walks yet.
The 1-1 to Guerrero down low, 2-1. Changeup no good, clocked at 89. The 2-1 pitch. Vladdy slaps at it, goes off the nub of his bat. Fouled back toward the backstop. It's now 2-2. Gusto looks in at the sign from Diaz. Here's the leg kick and the delivery on the 2-2 up high. Missing with the fastball at 96. It's 3-2.
How about those spikes that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has on right now? The little Travis Scott's.
Good eye.
Those things are very well. It's not hard to see. It's the backwards check.
Listen, not everybody's a sneakerhead like you. I mean, I am, but it's, I guarantee Bob and Margaret out in Saskatoon aren't thinking about the Travis Scotts.
Well, they're just very expensive. That's all I know.
The 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Vladdy sits down. Caught with the sweeper. Nice pitch from Gusto. And there are 2 away.
Well, that was a backup sweeper again. I'm sure Vlad recognized that pitch, recognized the swing or the spin on that sweeper, and was expecting it to move a lot more than it did. Kind of backed up and just spun right on the inside part of the plate. Those pitches are really tough to square up.
Anthony Santander steps in now in the first pitch to Santander up high. The fastball missing by a couple of inches. Clocked at 92. It's a 1-0 count. Santander has struck out twice tonight. The average down to 191. Second pitch, again, same spot, up high on a fastball, 2-0. Didn't we see this in his last at bat as well? A heavy diet and dose of fastballs.
And if you're Santander here, you have to be geared up and ready for a fastball right down the middle. If it's not there, do not swing.
Gusto coming with the 2-0 pitch. And it was inside, down low on a cutter. Santander held back. It's 3-0.
Well, you can definitely tell that he was geared up. Recognized it wasn't a four-seam fastball right at the last second and held up that bat.
The 3-0 outside, and you mentioned moments ago, no walks. Well, there's the first one of the night for Ryan Gusto as Santander gets the free walk to first with 2 away here in the 6th.
And now that's a big walk. Because George Springer is coming to the plate. He's seeing the baseball very well. Already has a double in this ball game.
And that's going to do it for Ryan Gusto. 80 pitches thrown. He's going to come out of the ball game. And with the Blue Jays trailing 3-1, it's time for another pitching change. Brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian, as we go back to baseball control with Julia Kreutz.
Thank you, Eric. We'll take another look then at the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Let's see what else is happening in Major League Baseball today. The Yankees got it started pretty early in the afternoon, got back on the win column with a 5-1 win over the Guardians. Aaron Judge had an RBI triple in the first inning to open the scoring there, and New York never really looked back. That snapped a mini 2-game skid for the Yankees. We're gearing up, of course, to face the Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium over the weekend. The Orioles tied the ball game against the Nationals after trailing for most of it. That game is now even at 3 apiece in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Mariners currently lead the Red Sox 8-2 at Fenway Park. Seattle just continuing its run of success here against AL East teams. J.P. Crawford hitting his first home run of the season. And that is going right now in the 7th inning in Boston. Over at Wrigley Field, the Cubs mounted a comeback against the Dodgers, now leading 7-6 after trailing by 5-3. This has been a big night for Teoscar Hernandez, but Chicago scored 3 runs in the 4th, 4 more in the 5th, took the lead. You can catch that game on Sportsnet Plus. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. We can get you back to the action now with Eric and Chris.
All right, thanks very much, Julia. We return to action here in the top of the 6th inning as Brian King has come in for the Astros. The lefty delivers on the first pitch to George Springer, and he pops it straight up to first base. Underneath it, making the grab is Christian Walker, and that will do it for the Blue Jays. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Toronto still trailing 3-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
You're driving. They're honking. You're driving. They're screaming. You're driving. Change your mood. With SiriusXM Comedy, they're honking. You're laughing. From the newest Netflix specials to the kings of Southern comedy, Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy. From uncensored Kevin Hart to clean comedy to quiet than kids, SiriusXM Comedy has it all. Channel 93 to 99 on your SiriusXM radio and on the SiriusXM app.
Your home for golf's biggest events is PGA Tour Radio.
It's a Grand Slam roar at Augusta National. Rory McIlroy, he's the 6th in the history of the game to enter golf's greatest group.
Deep down, I always believed that I had the game to win here at Augusta. You know, it was touch and go at times today, but thankfully I was able to get the job done.
PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
Blue Jays fans, your manager, Sean Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Our bats have been really kind of the way we envisioned them. Jimenez has kind of picked up where he left off in spring, as has Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, and George Springer is making progress and kind of quieting some people down on the outside with the start he got off to.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89 and the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and always on the SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
Welcome back. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. In the bottom of the 6th inning, Houston leading 3-1, out hitting the Jays 8-3 tonight. As Yainer Diaz steps in to face Chad Green. And the first pitch, swing and a miss. Green got him with a slider. 0-1 count. Diaz tripled back in the 2nd inning and scored 1 for 2 in the ballgame. Second pitch well outside on another slider. Missed by a good foot, if not more. It's 1-1. The 1-1 pitch sent foul down the third base line, and now Green gets ahead in the count, 1-2. Toronto trailing 3-1 as the offense has certainly struggled in this series, but the Blue Jays hoping to make the comeback here in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Don't want to give up any more here in the 6th, though. Down by 2. The 1-2 pitch outside down low. And now even in the count, Diaz at 2-2.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why Chad Green is in this ball game, other than the fact he hasn't pitched in a couple of days. But John Schneider's not messing around, keeping this, or at least trying to keep this a 2-run ball game.
Another one sent foul down the third base side. We will do it again at 2-2. The Oregon player going at it in Houston, trying to rally on the fans to get something going here in the 6th inning. It's a 2-2 count to Diaz. Green fires down Main Street, and it's hit straight back up the middle. A base hit to start off this 6th inning for Houston.
Well, Chad Green was trying to sneak that fastball by Diaz. They tried to get it up, and he just left it in a very hittable location. Diaz hammering that baseball right back up the middle.
9th hit of the night for the Houston Astros. And yet again, they get the leadoff man on. We'll see if they can do any damage with this one as Zach DeZenzo checks in right now, the number 7 hitter in this ball game, 1 for 2. First pitch inside, just missed on a fastball. 0-1. Check that, 1-0 count. DeZenzo with that single back in the second would come around and score as well. The 1-0 pitch, and he sends it into left field. It's dropping, and it's going to fall in front of Alan Roden, in 2 straight hits to start this 6th inning. 2 on, none out for the Astros.
Well, that wasn't a bad pitch. It was 95 in off the plate. He blew up DeZenzo, but DeZenzo was able to just dump it in front of Alan Roden out in left field for a big base hit in this inning.
So now 10 hits for the Astros, and they are indeed threatening yet again. They got the first 2 on in the first inning. Then the Blue Jays got out of it with a double play and a strikeout to end the first. Houston then came back in the second inning with 5 straight hits, scoring all 3 of their runs. And here they are again now in the 6th inning, getting the first 2 on.
Mauricio Dubon actually showed bunt on that first pitch. We'll see what he does here.
He shows again, then pulls back. The 1-0 pitch is good for a strike, 1-1.
How about that, pulling back on a fastball right down the middle? That's the pitch you want to bunt. Unsure what he was thinking there.
Green turns and fires on the 1-1. Bunt again, but it's sent sky high, and charging in to make the grab is Wagner. 1 away.
Well, Wagner was crashing. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was crashing. So as soon as that ball's up in the air, that's almost a definite out. You can see Mauricio Dubon not happy with himself there, but you want to get that ball on the ground, obviously, to move those runners over.
And now the Blue Jays could get out of this inning if they can get a double play ball from Chas McCormick.
When Dubon made contact with that baseball, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was about 25 feet from him. That's a scary place to be.
2 on, 1 out here in the 6th inning, with the Astros leading 3-1. Blue Jays discussing a little strategy right now with Green before he steps back up onto the mound. And McCormick's now going to check out of the ball game as Houston brings in the left-handed bat of Victor Caratini. Caratini on the season batting .250. So now we've got the lefty on righty matchup against Chad Green.
Caratini's 7 for 28 this season, hitting .250. Hasn't hit a home run yet, but he does have 1 RBI.
The first pitch from Green, high outside, missed with the fastball. 1-0 counts. Brendan Little, the lefty, getting up in the Blue Jay bullpen and getting loose. The 1-0 delivery. Caught the inside edge as Green just painted the corner on a four-seam fastball. It's 1-1.
Brendan Little was actually getting loose when Chad Green was getting loose, so he's been down there throwing a ton of pitches for a while.
Green looks in at the sign. Turns and fires on the 1-1. It's up high, 2-1. Another fastball just missing. Caratini set. Green turns, fires, and it's fouled off by the lefty, Caratini. It's now 2-2.
That's a nice spot. He actually missed his spot, but that's a good miss in on the hands of Caratini.
Blue Jays have lost 4 straight. Looking to avoid a 5th here tonight. Don't want to be swept by the Astros. They're going to have to play the comeback game. And Chad Green's trying to do his part right now to get out of this inning and limit any more damage.
Big pitch coming up here. 3-2 count. Runners on first and second and 1 out in this inning.
He just missed on the 2-2 with the slider down in the dirt. So as Chris just said, and hence the reason we're sitting now at 3-2 and the crowd's starting to buzz. Swing and a miss. Caratini sits down. A big strikeout from Green. 2 away.
A perfect pitch. Almost exploding through that plate. It was like it hit another gear when it hit the dirt. Caratini swinging right underneath it. A big second out in this inning.
So that brings up the top of the order for the Astros with still 2 on and now 2 out. Jose Altuve. The veteran right-handed bat. First pitch outside on the slider. 1-0. In his career against Green, 4 for 11 with a double, 2 homers, and 6 runs batted in, batting .364.
That's it?
That's all I got for you. Great stab at third. Wagner whips it over to second just ahead of the sliding DeZenzo, and the Blue Jays get out of the inning. So Wagner flashes the leather on a hot shot from Altuve, and we go to the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Every season, there comes a day when we forge a passion for Blue Jays baseball that is stronger than bedrock. With thousands of villagers at Rogers Center to cheer on the Blue Jays.
And Vladdy cranks it.
Dodge the creepers and block your calendar. On Saturday, May 3rd, plan to build your collection and be one of the first 15,000 fans in the ballpark to get your Blue Jays a Minecraft movie hat giveaway. Blue Jays Minecraft Day. Lights up, let's go. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Drywall, an essential part of many, many projects. It's important to get it right and start with quality materials. Essentials you'll always find competitively priced at Timber Mart, like CGC, a recognized giant in the drywall industry for over 100 years and leading Canadian manufacturer of gypsum drywall. Well established and reputable, building pros and contractors know CGC, and you get exactly what the best builders trust. That's as sexy as drywall gets. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
Hi, this is Bowden Francis, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on Sportsnet Radio Network.
Pocahontas in the cranberry glades.
The 7th inning is brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer for the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian. I stumbled through that.
That's all right. That's all right. At least you, too, are genuinely Canadian. As the Blue Jays look to make the comeback here in the final 3 innings. Andrés Giménez, 1 for 2 in the ballgame with a single in the second, stole a base. Average sits at 196. Toronto trailing 3-1. And a drag bunt down the first base side. What a play at second base by Dubon. He picks it up with the glove and scoops it on a toss over to Walker at first to get Giménez and record the out.
Well, that was a perfectly placed drag bunt from Andrés Giménez. Such a good idea. But Mauricio Dubon with an incredible play. Such a tough play. Flipping that ball to Christian Walker at first base for the out. That's a big, big out and a big first out in this inning. It's a tough break for Giménez.
Brings up Alejandro Kirk, and the first pitch down Main Street from Brian King, the lefty, in for a strike. Fastball clocked at 91, 0-1 count. Kirk 0 for 2 tonight, and now down 0-2 in the count as the sweeper catches the bottom part of the zone from Brian King.
Eric, earlier in the game, you were talking about how many low-round draft picks there were.
And Kirk sends one into right field, but plenty of room to make the grab. Zach DeCenzo 2 away.
On this Houston Astros roster, Brian King, who's on the mound right now, the left-handed pitcher, was a 30th round pick in 2019.
That's impressive.
That's low. Like 12, 13, 10, 11, somewhere around there is relatively normal, but it's really difficult when you're a 30th round pick.
And now a change for the Blue Jays as Miles Straw is going to come into the ball game for Addison Barger.
Can you guess what pick that is? 30th round.
Well, I'd have to do some serious math.
Just take a quick guess.
Wouldn't that be 900?
912.
912.
There were 911 people drafted before him. That's so many people.
That's a lot of people. Big draft this weekend, National Football League. A lot of eyeballs on that. But you haven't really officially declared your allegiance. I asked you this last year.
I'm a Bills guy.
All right.
Bills Chargers. Bills Chargers. I'm bi-coastal with my NFL teams.
3-1. Houston leading the Blue Jays. 2 away here. And we'll see if Miles Straw can get something going. I would assume, I don't want to speculate, but I'm going to. I would assume this is just the lefty pitcher and get in the righty bat instead of Barger, who's a lefty. But we did also see Barger with that head-first dive and that awkward landing on the wrist. So hopefully that's not the case. Either way, Straw just grounded out to second to end the inning, and we go to the bottom of the 7th inning with the Blue Jays still trailing 3-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ home hardware and building center locations where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big challenges. The 2 men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Authorized by the Chief Agent of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance, here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Vladdy with a huge stretch for the double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 7th inning, Blue Jays trailing 3-1. We've got another pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian.
Well, you can tell that John Schneider is not messing around, bringing in Jimmy Garcia, who's been really, really good this season for the Toronto Blue Jays. Probably the best bullpen arm that John Schneider throws out there. He has a 0 ERA, 10 ball games, 1 save in 10 1/3 innings, 14 strikeouts, though.
So Garcia is going to try and get things going here against Alvarez, Yordan Alvarez, the number 2 hitter in the Astros lineup. And the first pitch to Alvarez outside with the curveball, 1-0. On the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. 3 minutes, 40 seconds left between Washington and Montreal in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the Capitals lead the Habs 2-1. Boston in Major League Baseball, top of the ninth, they trail Seattle 8-5. It'd be nice if the Blue Jays could make a comeback here and get back on the winning track and maybe pick up a little ground in the American League East. The 2-1 count now to Alvarez as Garcia gets set to deliver. The leg kick, and he fires in with a fastball. It came inside. Alvarez turned on it, sends it sky high to right field, but on the track in front of the wall to make the grab is George Springer. It looked better off the bat, but it was so high it didn't have the length to travel.
Well, I'll tell you what, Yordan Alvarez thought that he got that baseball as well. He hit it, and he kind of stood in the batter's box for a split second, flipped the bat just a little bit. But that was what, about 2 feet from the wall in right field? George Springer with the easy catch for out number 1.
Isaac Paredes steps in now. And the first pitch outside. Garcia misses with the curveball, 1-0. Here's the 1-0 delivery. And that one sent into left field, and it's going to drop in front of Allen Roda. And Isaac Paredes turned on that one and loops one in for a 1-out single.
Yeah, that was a tough fastball in off the plate, but Isaac Paredes was just able to muscle it in the left field. You can see him actually fist pumping at first base, probably excited that he got a base hit off of Jimmy Garcia.
(3-1) Houston leading Toronto. And now the Astros with a man on with 1 out as Jeremy Pena comes to the plate. Pena 0 for 3 in this ball game, batting .244 on the season. Does have a little pop with 3 home runs this season. Garcia looks in at the sign from Kirk, turns and fires right down Main Street, and it goes right back at Garcia off his foot and ricochets into right field.
Well, that is a huge break for the Astros. That ground ball was going right at Andres Jimenez, kind of up the middle, shaded towards second base. That would have been an easy double play for the Blue Jays.
And actually went off the leg, not the foot.
Yeah, that's too bad. Andres Jimenez was ready right behind Jimmy Garcia. John Schneider out to check on him right now. He seems like he's okay. Got him in the fleshy part right next to the shin and the calf.
Well, this gives us a moment, Chris, to mention Blue Jays Minecraft Movie Day is coming up on Saturday, May 3rd at Rogers Center, bringing together the thrilling energy of Blue Jays baseball and the creative world of Minecraft. Be one of the first 15,000 fans to enter the ballpark and grab the Blue Jays Minecraft movie hat. I know Chris LaRue will be all over that, riding his chicken jockey straight to the concession stands, through the gate, and getting that fancy hat. BlueJays.com/promotions.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Chicken jockey?
Chicken jockey.
What does that mean? Can you explain? You've said it like 3 times in the last couple of days. Oh, he's a character.
Yeah. The guy riding a chicken jockey.
All right.
Riding chicken jockey.
It's a chicken. Oh.
The guy riding a chicken. He's the chicken jockey.
I thought it was a chicken on a horse.
No.
Never mind.
Google it. And to all our young listeners out there,
you apologize.
Go enjoy the movie, but don't destroy the theaters. I've heard that those crowds have been getting unruly. I'm not quite sure why. Back to the baseball action. Garcia luckily seems no worse for the wear, but now he's certainly got to battle a little bit of an issue with 2 on and only 1 away for the Astros. Christian Walker at the dish, and he's the man that had the big swing that got the scoring started back in the 3rd inning with a solo home run. Walker 2 for 3 in the ball game. Houston batting .333 with runners in scoring position in this series thus far. Garcia came in with a fastball moments ago, clocked at 96. He's ahead in the count now, 0-2 against Walker. Could be a big out right here. We'll see what Garcia fires away with the 0-2 count. Looks at second, twice, turns, fires to Kirk, and he gets him looking with a nasty sweeper. Walker sits down. A huge pitch from Garcia. 2 away.
That is some nasty stuff right there from Jimmy Garcia. Started that sweeper at the front leg of Christian Walker. You can see Christian Walker thought that ball was going to hit him and thought it was a fastball, jumped out of the way, and that ball just took a left turn and broke right down the middle for strike 3. What a pitch.
And this brings up Yainer Diaz with 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Outside, a little bit in the dirt. Kirk makes a nice backhanded stab to keep that in front of him. 1-0 count. A triple and a single with a run scored for Diaz. He's 2 for 3 in the ballgame. Looking for another big hit right here. He's got a runner in scoring position. He's got 2 on overall. First and second, 2 out for the Astros. And this one off the nub of the bat, but it stays in foul territory. Count now at 1-1. On the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the St. Louis Bar and Grill. The Washington Capitals just scored an empty net goal with 0.7 seconds remaining. They're going to beat the Montreal Canadiens 3-1. The 1-1 pitch from Garcia to Diaz. And this one slapped down to third, picked up by Wagner, and he will just step on the bag right in front of him. And the Blue Jays get out of a jam. They get out of the inning. On to the 8th we go. Toronto trailing by 2. It's 3-1 Houston. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Fantasy Sports Radio is introducing you to the future stars of fantasy football at the NFL Draft.
The top of this draft class has big-time talent. They're going to make an impact on fantasy football in 2025.
Find out which rookies you need to draft if you want to win your league right now.
I am getting Ashton Genty in 2025 in the earlier rounds.
Tomorrow night, follow the NFL Draft from a fantasy football perspective on Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and the Sirius XM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on Sirius XM Channel 89 and every morning on the Sirius XM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
At Radio Network.
At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Top of the 8th inning, Brian Abreu comes in for the Houston Astros as he gets set to face the Jays here with Toronto trailing by 2. It's 3-1 Houston. This pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays, locally owned, genuinely Canadian.
We saw Brian Abreu in last night's ball game. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. He's really tough.
And the first pitch catches the top part of the zone with a fastball. 0-1 to Will Wagner.
His fastball generally sits 97, 98. We saw in last night's ball game up to 99 miles an hour.
Wagner 0 for 2 in the ballgame. Digs in, swings at the next pitch, sends it into center field, but it should be a relatively easy grab, and it is. Out in center field. The out is recorded, 1 away for the Jays.
Well, he hit that ball right on the screws. It was a fastball right down the middle. Will Wagner was right on it.
Jake Myers makes the grab for the Astros to get the first out of the inning. Alan Roden now bottom of the order for the Blue Jays. He as well 0 for 2 in the ballgame. The Blue Jays as a team only 3 hits tonight. Houston with 12. And more importantly, they've also got the lead on the scoreboard. 3-1 Astros. The 1-0 pitch comes in, catches the bottom part of the zone on a slider. It's 1-1.
And the Houston Astros scored all 3 of those runs in the bottom of the second inning.
Roden fouls off the 1-1. It's now 1-2. And that second inning, Houston got 5 straight hits to begin that second, and they got 3 runs, and they haven't looked back since. The 1-2 pitch inside, Wagner held off. It was down at his toes. It's 2-2.
Well, like you mentioned, the Blue Jays really haven't had many opportunities. Just 3 hits in the ball game. They scored their lone run in the top of the 4th inning. They'll have to get something going here.
Abreu, the right-handed pitcher, to the lefty Roden, came inside, just missed. He wanted the call. It was real close. Roden held off. It's 3-2.
The tough part about the rest of this ball game is you have Brian Abreu, and then you probably have Josh Hader in the 9th.
The 3-2 pitch. And Roden slaps at it, sends it foul into the netting down the third base side. So we will reset and do it again at 3-2. Abreu with the pitch. Roden swings and misses. Couldn't catch that slider. 2 away.
That's just nasty stuff from Brian Abreu. He's a big strikeout guy, a high strikeout rate. And he shows it right there with a really nice slider. Started right down the middle and then just broke under the bat of Alan Roden.
So to the top of the order we go. It's Bo Bichette. And the first pitch to Bichette. He sends into center field on a base hit. See if the Jays can get something going with a 2-out rally as Bichette is on with a single to bring Vladdy to the plate.
Let's see if Vlad can put together another good at-bat.
So Guerrero in the first inning grounded out to third. Then had a base hit in the 4th. Struck out in the 6th. We'll see what he can do right here. 1 for 3 in the ballgame. With now Bichette at first base. First hit of the night for Bo Bichette. And the first pitch to Vladdy. Outside. Missed with the slider. 1-0.
Got average for Vlad now at 280.
Abreu turns and fires. Swing and a miss. Vladdy couldn't catch up with the fastball. 97 miles an hour on the 4-seamer. It's 1-1. Jays could certainly use a big Guerrero blast right here. The 1-1 pitch. In for a strike on another fastball. Clocked at 97. And now Guerrero down in the count, 1-2. 1 for 11 in this series, Vladdy, with 4 strikeouts. Trying to avoid another one right here. The 1-2 pitch up high. He held off on the slider. It's 2-2.
They're really staying away from Vlad. All 4 pitches so far in this at-bat have been either off the plate outside or on the plate outside. So Vlad might want to look at going the other way here.
The 2-2 pitch. And Guerrero slaps at it, sends it to short. It's scooped up by Pena over to first to record the out. And that will do it for the Blue Jays. As Guerrero grounds out, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning with Houston leading 3-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Gary, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong bird food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at armstrongbirdfood.com.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big challenges. The two men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Authorized by the Chief Agent of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Why let only one family member enjoy Rogers 5G when you can get a third line for as low as $35 per month?
Gather around, family.
What now, Dad?
I switched you all to Rogers 5G plans and saved us big time. More 5G, more savings. Everyone wins.
So I only have to pay one bill? Way to go, Dad. Unexpected W.
Get more lines on Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network for as low as $35 per month on the third line. $75 service setup fee per line may apply with a home service. See rogers.com/plans for details. Rogers, we got you. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
0-2 swing and a miss, strike three.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Blue Jays down 3-1, bottom of the 8th inning, and Jeff Hoffman has come into the ballgame. First pitch, he misses just outside with a fastball at 96.
Hoffman last pitched on April 18th against Seattle. 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, and he got the save.
Hoffman to DeCenzo, second pitch, in for a strike. Got him with the slider, 1-1.
On the season, the 6'5" righty is 2-0 with a 1.59 ERA. He has 5 saves in 10 games, 11 and a third innings.
The 1-1. Another strike, caught the inside edge with a slider. Now 1-2. DeCenzo steps out of the box for a moment. Now comes back in and gets set. Hoffman looks in at the sign from Kirk. Leg kick delivery. And it's sent up toward the middle and past Bo Bichette into center field. A leadoff base hit for DeCenzo and the Astros here in the 8th.
And DeCenzo's now 3 for 4 on the ball game. How about that? That was a split finger. It kind of jammed him a little bit, but he just found the hole up the middle for a leadoff base hit in this inning.
So Houston again gets the leadoff man on, and they will look for a little more late game insurance. Already leading 3-1. Blue Jays will be down to their last at bats, but they got to get out of this 8th first. Mauricio Dubon swings at the first pitch, sends it foul down the right field side. 0-1 count.
Coming up for the Blue Jays in the top half of the 9th inning is Anthony Santander, George Springer, and Andres Jimenez.
Well, normally you would say that's a good thing to have your 3, 4, 5 hitters. This hasn't been the case in this series. Or even going back to the final 2 at Rogers Center, the Blue Jays have certainly struggled with their offense, again specifically in Houston. I don't know if you got the email. I've got to try and check it here maybe at the end of the inning, but the Blue Jays TV side, the stat guru Scott Carson sent a note about historical all-time worsts for the Jays in terms of hits and runs in a 3-game series, and this isn't the worst, but it's among some of the worst we've seen thus far, at least. Popped up to second base. Underneath it to make the grab is Andres Jimenez. And Dubon is out, one away here in the 8th for the Astros.
And you said historically bad for a series or for the start of a season?
I believe it's for a series.
Oh, just a series.
Yeah. As I said, I got to double check that. You know, I'm a little busy here. A little busy here. Again with Hoffman in the ball game for the Jays. This pitching change has been brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays. Locally owned, genuinely Canadian. And that pitching change has netted at least one out right now as Hoffman looks for another one right here. Myers batting for the first time in this ball game. Jake Myers down in that 9 spot. It was Chas McCormick who started, then Victor Caratini came in, then Caratini was replaced by Myers. Swings at the 0-1 pitch, and it's now 0-2.
In yesterday's ball game, Jake Myers was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And he's got 2 quick strikeouts on him here. 2 quick strikes on him here.
Batting .269 on the season despite the woes last night. We'll see what he can come up with right here. With DeCenzo out at first. And a strikeout for Myers. He's caught looking and he barks at himself, frustrated by that one. Hoffman gets the K, 2 away.
Yeah, 3 straight sliders from Hoffman. That one was right down the middle. Jake Myers is probably thinking he's thrown 2 sliders to me. He's probably going to come with something hard here, maybe up in the zone. And Jeff Hoffman just flips in another slider for strike 3.
That's Chris LaRue. I'm Eric Smith. We're in the Timber Mart broadcast booth in the bottom of the 8th inning with the Astros leading 3-1. Top of the order now for the Astros with Jose Altuve. Outside, first pitch clocked at 97 on a fastball, 1-0 count. Josh Hader indeed warming up in the Astros bullpen. I'm sure we'll see him to start the 9th.
It's not a good sign if you're a Blue Jays fan.
The 1-0 pitch foul down the first base side by Altuve. It's 1-1. You'd certainly rather be going to New York with some momentum and a victory, but either way, it's going to be a big early season series against the Yankees for Toronto this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the action right here on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Yeah, even with the Blue Jays losing potentially their 5th straight game, that the AL East is just still up in the air. Like you heard John Schneider say before the game, tomorrow's another day. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Eventually, this offense is going to start to heat up.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Hoffman to Altuve. Swing and a miss, a big cut from Altuve on the slider. It's 2-2. So now Hoffman will try and get out of this inning right here and hand it off to the final at-bats for the Blue Jays. See if Toronto can pull off the comeback in the 9th. Man at first. 2 away for the Astros. Houston leading 3-1, bottom of the 8th. Hoffman looks in at the sign and now turns and whips one over to first. DeCenzo had to dive back in. Maybe closer than it should have been. Fans don't like it. They never do. Hoffman looks in now at Kirk. Lances over his left shoulder at Vladimir Guerrero, holding DeCenzo at first. The 2-2 pitch. DeCenzo takes off. Altuve slaps at it, fouls it back up and over the backstop. Maybe more towards the dugout. DeCenzo has to head back. We'll do it again at 2-2.
On the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, Seattle has officially beaten the Red Sox 8-5. So the Red Sox fall to 14-12 on the season.
Baltimore loses 4-3 to Washington. New York won 5-1 over the Guardians. Tampa currently trailing 1-0 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. That went in the first inning down in the desert. So those are your AL East teams. And the Blue Jays down 3-1 to the Astros. DeCenzo took off again. But Altuve fouled off again, so everybody's got to reset.
How many times has he gone in a row? 3 now? He's got to be gassed over there.
Hoffman, again, glancing over the shoulder. The 2-2 descended the not take off. The fastball up high. It's now 3-2. And the crowd starts to buzz in Houston, trying to make some noise for Altuve and the Astros with the 3-2 count and 2 away here in the 8th. The pitch comes in, and Altuve gets underneath it, sends it straight back up and over the backstop. Another souvenir. That was pitch number 9. And we'll reset and do it again with Yordan Alvarez awaiting on deck.
Altuve's such a pest up there. Just fouls off so many tough pitches, stays alive, and now he's at pitch number 9 coming up in this ball, in this at-bat.
The 3-2. Swing and a miss. He got him chasing. Hoffman got him with the slider, and that will do it. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hoffman, and we head to the 9th inning with the Blue Jays trailing 3-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Get ready for the 2025 NFL Draft on SiriusXM NFL Radio. With the
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you! Thanks for hanging out with us for the Toronto Blue Jays game. We really appreciate you being here, chatting it up every single game. We're live 1 through 162 right here on Toronto Sports Insider. You won't miss any of the action. Every pitch, every home run, every big play by our Blue Jays, whether it's at the Dome or on the road, we're here and we're hanging out together, cheering them on. Now let's get back to the baseball. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button and turning on the bell. And welcome to this awesome community. Now keep it classy, and we'll see you back in the chat.
The Sports Betting Network is now on SiriusXM 158 and on the SiriusXM app.
Baseball is back. It's former General Manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former Big League GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
And Radio Network.
9th inning, final at-bats for the Blue Jays. And Josh Hader in for the Houston Astros. This pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays. Locally owned, genuinely Canadian, and the lefty will look to shut down Toronto. First pitch to George Springer comes inside, and a 1-0 count.
Well, Josh Hader out of Millersville, Maryland, has been really, really good this year. 1-0 with a .75 ERA. 15 strikeouts in 12 innings.
And the 1-1 pitch up high, no good.
Like we talked about a little bit last night, he doesn't quite have the fastball velo that he used to have. He used to sit 97, 98 miles an hour. That last fastball was 94.
The 2-1 pitch in for a strike with the sinker clocked at 93. It's now 2-2.
But still really tough to pick up. He kind of turns and shows you his number on the back of his jersey, then lets go of that baseball.
Swing and a miss. And Santander, batting from the right side for the first time in this game, sits down. Hader gets the K. Toronto down to the final 2 outs.
And that slider's so good because it looks like a fastball until the very last second, and then just darted below the bat of Anthony Santander. Really tough pitch to pick up. Such tight spin.
3 strikeouts in the ball game for Santander as the early season struggles continue for him. George Springer now up 1 for 3 on the evening. He had an RBI double back in the 4th inning, which accounted for Toronto's only run. Big swing and a miss on the 1-0 pitch. Springer couldn't catch up to that sinker at 94. It's 1-1. Hader looks in at the sign. The 1-1 pitch down Main Street, 96. 1-2. And Springer gets a piece of the 1-2 pitch, sends it foul down the third base line, stays alive. And we'll do it again at 1-2. Houston has done a great job of just shutting down the offense of the Blue Jays in this series, and they're looking to do the same here in the 9th inning with 1 away. The 1-2 pitch, again fouled off by Springer, got a piece of that sinker at 96, sends it straight up and over the backstop. The Houston crowd trying to rally on the Astros right here. Hader looks into Diaz. The leg kick and the delivery. And another one fouled off by George Springer.
Good at bat here from George Springer. Keep in mind, this game's not over yet. As tough as Josh Hader is, all the Blue Jays need to do here is get somebody on base, and they'll be in business.
3-1 Houston leading. Springer would love to be that man that Chris just spoke of. Get on base. Try and make something happen here. Keep this game rolling. With 1 out in the 9th inning, Springer looks at a pitch outside. It's now 2-2. Springer still having a solid start to the year, despite the Blue Jays' offensive struggles in this series. George still at .333, and he's looking to bump that average a little more right here as he continues to battle another ball fouled off by Springer. Got a piece of that sinker. Let's do it again at 2-2.
And he just missed that pitch. That was a fastball right down the middle, and he just fouled it back.
Down low, skimming the dirt. George held off that one. The changeup no good for Hader. It's 3-2.
He looks pretty confident right now, doesn't he, against a really tough left-handed pitcher. Doesn't look too jumpy in there. Doesn't look too antsy in that box. That was a good take on that changeup.
And it looks like Ernie Clement's going to come into the ball game in the on-deck circle. The 3-2 pitch. Springer turns and rips one foul down the third base line. I would have loved to have had that go another couple of feet the other way and into the corner. That was the 10th pitch of the at-bat. Can Springer do it again and stay alive right here? 3-2. Top 9, 1 out. Hader with the pitch. Outside, and Springer earns the pass. How about that?
Well, you can see just how tough Josh Hader is. George Springer took that last ball, and you could see the relief, the excitement. He ripped off his batting gloves. You could see him talking to himself, really happy with that at-bat, with that walk. That's a big run standing at first base now.
And Ernie Clement is indeed going to check in. Bring in the right-handed bat of Clement. And the Astros want to chat about things right now. Eric Smith and Chris LaRue in the Timber Mart broadcast booth in the 9th inning. The Blue Jays looking to come back and mount a rally here in the 9th.
Well, I'm sure the Astros just want to put together a quick game plan, slow the game down for Josh Hader. He's been in this situation a million times, so he knows exactly what to do. I'm sure the conversation was more like, how do you want to attack this guy? What pitch do you want to throw here? Ernie Clement's actually 1 for 2 in his career against Josh Hader with a home run.
First pitch to Clement. He jumps on it, sends it into left field. It's going to make its way to the corner. Springer on his horse, coming around third. He's going to stop at third, diving headfirst into second. Safely with a double is Ernie Clement, and the Blue Jays have second and third with one away here in the ninth.
And how about that? What a swing from Ernie Clement, jumping all over that first pitch heater from Josh Hader. Blue Jays are in business now. Runners on second and third, and just one out in this inning.
Third double of the season for Ernie Clement. And Toronto setting up a golden opportunity to at least potentially tie this game, if not maybe go ahead here in the ninth. What can Alejandro Kirk do? First pitch, swings, and fouls one straight back, kind of dribbles it into the dirt behind him. 0-1 count.
It's a big AB here. You have to score a run. The Astros are giving you the run. They're playing back. Obviously, they're not going to play in this situation, but get something on the ground and score that run from third base.
Kirk swings at high heat. The sinker at 95. Kirk couldn't catch up with it, and he's down in the count 0-2. Oh for 3 in the ball game. Kirk would love to get his first one right here. 1 out. 0-2 count. Ninth inning. Hader inside, down low. Kirk held off. Had to get out of the way. It's 1-2.
I actually thought that ball hit him. Alejandro Kirk had a quick word for John Lipka. Watching the replay, it still looked like it hit him. I think John Schneider and Blue Jays were quickly looking at it. They thought better of it.
The bat was hit or not?
I think they actually are looking at it. I'm pretty sure that ball hit his back toe. I don't know if we'll have the right angle.
Did it hit dirt first?
It doesn't matter. It can hit the dirt and then hit you. It's still a hit by pitch, but I don't think that ball hit him. At least from our angle. I'm sure New York has better angles than we have, but I don't think this call's getting reversed.
I mean, if you're the Blue Jays, why not at least try in the ninth inning?
Yeah, why not?
Might as well.
Can't hurt. Especially with a guy like Josh Hader on the mound.
Tough to tell from the two angles we've seen thus far, folks. If I'm not mistaken, when I worked games with you last year, you were perfect. And if you weren't, you missed maybe once.
Well, I think like the guys in New York. I don't know what that means.
I was trying to decode it. Well, Paul Jones and I have a theory in basketball in the NBA that I'll share in a couple of moments. Well, maybe I can do it right now. Unless it is absolutely 100% no doubt, they're never going to not have the back of the officials of the umpire crew.
The batter was not hit by the pitch. The count will be 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think that wasn't an easy call, but after we saw a couple of angles, it was pretty clear that was not a hit by pitch. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated, probably because it's a big pitch in this ball game, but
so Kirk will step back in and get set for the 1-2 pitch. Hader looks in at the sign from Diaz. It's down low, and Kirk went after it, chased that slider, and Toronto down to the final out. 2 away here in the ninth.
Just such a tough slider. Again, it looks like a fastball. That's the most important thing. That's why Hader gets so many swings and misses on that slider, and then just drops off the table right underneath the bat of Alejandro Kirk.
So remember, Toronto has second and third. Clement at second. Springer at third. Miles Straw at the dish. First pitch. He got fooled by the slider. He tried to hold back, but didn't, as it's ruled a strike, and Straw down 0-1. Batting .289, does have a homer this season. The 0-1 pitch. And he got underneath it, sky high, into shallow center field. And underneath it to make the grab is Jake Myers, and that will do it. The Toronto Blue Jays gets swept in Houston, and they've lost 5 in a row.
Ryan Gusto put together a really nice ball game. I know that I keep giving credit to these Houston Astros starters, but he was really, really good tonight. Threw that fastball when he needed to and really mixed it up well. But the Blue Jays will start to have to figure out these good pitchers. There's good pitchers all over this league. If you want to win in the American League East, you'll have to start hitting against good pitching.
So Toronto gets 1 run on 5 hits. The Astros 3 runs on 13 hits. Houston beats Toronto 3-1. We'll come back with some final thoughts and then get set for post-game coverage as you are listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
I'm Mark Carney. I know people are anxious right now. President Trump has created a crisis. Well, I've led people through crises my entire career. I've worked with prime ministers from both parties to solve big problems for Canadians. And right now, we're facing the biggest crisis of our lifetimes. And we need serious leadership and a real plan. That's what you'll get if you vote Liberal.
Authorized by the registered agent for the Liberal Party of Canada.
Gary, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong bird food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at armstrongbirdfood.com.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are here on Sportsnet.
The wait is over.
Round 1 begins with 5 Canadian teams in the hunt for Lord Stanley.
Away we go.
The Leafs take on the Senators.
Battle of Ontario.
The Capitals versus the Canadiens.
They're on their feet in Montreal.
The Jets against the Blues.
Winnipeg, this could be the year.
The Kings versus the Oilers.
Edmonton and Los Angeles rekindled a rivalry.
Watch the Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's showtime.
Only on Sportsnet. Here for the Cup.
Hi, this is Tyler Heineman, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Eric Smith and Chris LaRue with you. Final score in Houston. The Astros beating the Blue Jays 3-1 as Houston completes the sweep. And Chris, what's it going to take for Toronto to kind of get things back on track and maybe get things going in New York against the AL East first place Yankees over the course of this weekend?
Well, it'll be another tough matchup. This was a tough matchup. 3 pretty good starters. Obviously, we didn't know much about Ryan Gusto, a rookie, his first season in the major leagues, but I was really impressed with his stuff. I think Anthony Santander is really starting to press. He's starting to swing at pitches that he normally wouldn't swing at. I think that the talk of he's a slow starter is coming to an end, and people are starting to question whether this is just what Anthony Santander is going to be for the majority of this season. I think he can hear that and feel that, and he's starting to put pressure on himself. I don't know how you get out of that. I think you just have to slow the game down, kind of simplify your swing, and just make better swing decisions up there. Swing at pitches that you can really hit hard, and then at the end of the day, just hope that the pitchers make mistakes and give you something that you can barrel up.
In front of 25,209 people, the Blue Jays lose in Houston. 3-1 the final. The Blue Jays fall to 12-13. The Astros improved to 13-11, a game that took 2 hours and 34 minutes. Again, the Blue Jays losing 3-1 thanks to technical director Tom Young, producer Nick Blackmore, and at baseball control and with post-game coverage, Julia Kreutz. In fact, let's go to Julia right now as Jays Talk starts right now.
Well, show,
It's not you, it's me. Welcome to Jay's Talk. I'm Julia Kreutz here in baseball control in downtown Toronto. Just me tonight. Joe Ellie was smart enough to take a few days off here as the Blue Jays get swept by the Astros, a 3-1 loss to Houston, their 5th loss in a row. And the troubles in this one were pretty well known. We'll break it all down. We'll also take your calls. You can take your texts. 590-590 is the text line. Please don't forget to leave your name and location. We've got a couple of texts in already, and we'll sure get to them in just a moment. And to clarify, Joe Ali, who has way too much time in his hands, went back and checked the score on all the pregame and postgame shows that we have done together over the years. And it turns out that the Blue Jays have way more losses than wins when it's me and him behind the mic. And listen, I was looking forward to telling Show that this was kind of proof that he was the problem. Maybe the Blue Jays mount a comeback in the 9th. They certainly had the chance against Josh Hader, but no, that did not happen. And so here we are. Maybe the problem is me, but we will take a closer look at this one. I don't think there's any other place to start, really, other than the offense. You kind of look at what happened today and just how common these problems have been for the Blue Jays. It's not just runners in scoring position anymore. It's the fact that there's just absolutely no power in this lineup right now. Of the hits the Blue Jays got tonight, and if I'm not mistaken, it was 4 or 5 here. 5 hits on the night, one of them for extra base hits, and that was, of course, George Springer's RBI double early on. Well, 2 actually. They did add a second one in the 9th inning, but this is just becoming a very, very well-known problem, which is they're completely unable to put the ball in the air right now, it seems. So even when there's hard hit contact, and that we saw a little bit of today too. You have Bo Bichette hitting a ball hard that doesn't leave the ballpark and things along those lines. It seems like everything is just a bit off for this offense, and that is those are the results that you are going to get when that is the case. Listen, yes, Bowden Francis got into a little bit of trouble in the 2nd inning, allowing 3 runs. We can look at that as well, and we will. But this was very much a winnable game for the Blue Jays when you look at the fact that the pitching kept them in it. Despite allowing 13 runs here, Francis bounced back. John Schneider brought out the highest leverage relievers that you're going to find in that Blue Jays bullpen. And again, the offense unable to capitalize. It was definitely encouraging to see, it come alive a little bit in that 9th inning against Josh Hader. Obviously an important point in the game, but this is what we're talking about. It's fewer than 2 outs. There was 1 out when Alejandro Kirk came up to the plate. Runners on 2nd and 3rd. The Blue Jays they have been over the season pretty good at scoring the runner from third base with fewer than 2 outs in an inning. And that is the problem with what we're seeing right now, is the fact that seems to have eluded them as well. A contact-heavy team is not being able to find those hits, even if they're singles, in the big moments in the way that we saw today in the 9th. So a lot to break down there. We can definitely, if you want to start with a positive, you can look at George Springer and the fact that, yes, he keeps swinging the ball well. We saw a little bit of a lineup change. This is not necessarily new because Springer was batting cleanup earlier in the series as well. But this seems to be now a little bit of a more permanent solution for the Jays. This is the guy who is actually swinging the bat well here. It's George Springer. And so why not have him in the cleanup spot? And I will still make the argument that maybe you can look at George Springer as your leadoff hitter again. We will talk a little bit later about Bo Bichette and how he stands and where he stands when it comes to the leadoff spot, and the fact that he only saw 4 pitches today. But starting with Springer, this is obviously a guy who understands the issues of this team right now. He's been around for a while. He's been an All-Star. He's been a World Series MVP. All of that is on display when he is taking his at-bats right now. They have been pretty good at-bats in the sense that he seems to be in control First of all, of the heartbeat. Second of all, of what he's trying to do. He's whiffing a little bit more, it is true, but he's whiffing with a consciousness that this is what he has to do to put himself in a good position to get ahead of the ball and to actually drive it and put a good swing on. That is what we saw in that fourth inning when he hit that RBI double. And, you know, you have to give credit to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as well in a play like that in which he is at first base. Jose Altuve is playing left field, so you know that you can test that arm. He hasn't been playing there for a very long time. And so, yeah, you're going to score from first. You see the hustle there. You see the fact that the Blue Jays also understand that they need to get something going at a time where maybe things are not going their way and it is difficult to swing the bat, but you have a potentially game-changing moment right there. You have a potentially tide-shifting moment when, you're hauling from first and you have a George Springer hitting the ball hard in the way that he did. Nothing comes after that. And that is, again, something that we kind of saw all series. This is the fifth loss in a row. This is not the first time that the Blue Jays have failed to score, failed to show up, even with runners in scoring position. We're not asking them to even hit a home run per game here. But the fact of the matter is that there needs to be a little bit more production, a little bit more substantial production from this Blue Jays offense here. Let's get to a few texts. There's no name in this one, but someone says, Jules, George Springer is batting 200 over the past 10 games. He had a good start, but he has slowed down dramatically. Listen, I have to agree with that, but you look at this series, the offense that you got came from George Springer. And the regression is going to come in the same way that you hear John Schneider sort of say, listen, guys are going through it the right way. We trust the process. We believe that this is this is Shane in Brockville. Thanks for texting in, Shane. Appreciate that. But I get what you're saying. It is true. Springer has certainly regressed. But when you look at the production and the way that things are going right now, he has to be your guy. He just has to be your guy. Can he be that person, that producer for the entire season? No, he cannot. But whatever it is that the Blue Jays are doing offensively right now goes through George Springer. Whether that's yesterday when you see him stealing 2 bases in a single inning to try to make something happen, acting a little bit like a merchant of chaos, as I put it with Blake Murphy on Jays Talk Plus. Whether it's today with an RBI double in a moment where the game still seemed pretty much within reach for the Jays, I get it. He's going to regress, as are other guys in this lineup, probably going to start hitting a little bit better eventually. But this is it. This is George Springer is your guy right now. And if that is the case, why not give him a few more at bats? Which leads me actually to, second point here, which is I've been talking about this a little bit more recently, but I think it might be time to move on from Bo Bichette in the leadoff spot. He just doesn't seem, first of all, he doesn't seem comfortable in his at-bats right now. And the aggressiveness is actually coming back to bite not only him, but the Blue Jays a little bit. It's easy to see that in a game like today in which he had 4 at-bats and he saw 4 pitches. The last one, yes, resulted in a single there, but that was pretty much it. All the other 3 at-bats that Bo Bichette had resulted in an out. That is, frankly, what is contributing to so many of these starters. And like Chris said, these are good starters. But that is what's contributing to so many of these starters cruising through quality starts, or in Gusto's case, almost a quality start. He left a little bit before the end of the 6th inning, but with very, very low pitch counts. There's a reason why when you look for a leadoff hitter, you look for a guy who can see a lot of pitches, give your lineup a little bit of a chance, or the rest of your lineup a little bit of a chance to see what that pitcher has on any given night. And that is just not happening right now with Bo Bichette, because that is not the hitter that he is. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There obviously is a place or exists a place for Bo Bichette in this lineup. I just don't believe that it should be the leadoff spot with the way that things are going right now. The Blue Jays need runners on base. They need to string together a few good at-bats in which they actually ride up the pitch count of the starter. Just don't seem to be able to do that. It's obviously not all on Bo Bichette, don't get me wrong, but this is something that you have to consider with when it has been, frankly, this long that things have not been going well. Scoring early was a point of emphasis pretty much from the get-go. That was something that John Schneider sort of circled even before the season started in his pre-opening day media conference. The Blue Jays know that this is what needs to happen. And it just doesn't seem like they are going to get there with this lineup construction. Again, I'm not trying to put this all on Bo Bichette. He's actually been producing pretty well for the Jays. He has been one of the more consistent hitters in this lineup. I'm just not sure that this is the spot for him. And we know that the Blue Jays are trying to be a little more creative this season. They are trying to stay flexible and to really go with what the situation and what the moment in the game calls for. If that is the case, now is the time to take a serious look at the top of this lineup and figure out what else can be done here. That goes I'm talking about Bo. I'm also talking about George Springer, who, you know, I'm not saying that he should be the leadoff hitter for the rest of the season, but I am saying, why not give it a try if things are kind of going a little bit in the way that they're going right now? And obviously it goes for Anthony Santander right now, who does seem to be a little bit lost at the plate. He sat out yesterday's ball game. John Schneider called it a breather, quote unquote, maybe a little bit of an attempt here to get a guy like Santander back on track. Didn't work. And he still seems to be swinging at pitches that are not his pitches. 3 strikeouts today. He's now hitting 189 in the season, 5.59 OPS. People are getting tired of hearing about the slow starter that he is. We realize that is the case. We realize that the OPS just darts up in the next month, but the Blue Jays need wins right now. They're 12-13, so they're back under 500. The division is not getting any easier. There's just really a lot to consider when it comes to this offense. And, you know, most of the texts that we're getting here are pretty much just the same sort of sentiment, right? Jeff from Peterborough. The Blue Jays need help in the lineup. And Jeff, to your point, you're saying here, Bo Bichette should sign a long-term deal just like Vlad did. That is still obviously the hope. We can see that Bichette has been an important presence in this lineup for the Blue Jays. And yeah, I think that your first point is it should be the main point here. The Blue Jays need help in the lineup. How soon is too soon to start thinking about the trade deadline? Is this something that we're going to see some movement out of? There's definitely a need for it. And if this is the identity of the team and it's just not working right now, then that is definitely something that should be addressed come trade deadline. Of course, the shopping list is going to be pretty large for the Blue Jays, as it is for any playoff team. You are looking at probably another bullpen arm that can get some swings and misses. With the way that things are going with the rotation, you may need to look at bringing in another starter. But I still believe that the main point of emphasis here for the trade deadline should be just a slugging third baseman. That seems to be what is missing from the Jays lineup right now. And then if you have a ton of guys hitting singles and, you know, just getting on base and wreaking havoc on the bases, you're probably okay with that. But you need to know that you have a legitimate thumper in that lineup who can change the course of a game with one swing. There was the hope that Anthony Santander would be that guy. Hasn't been the case so far. There is always hope that, expectation that Vladdy is going to turn it around, and he will. He'll probably end up with 30 home runs, as will Santander. This is kind of what we're expecting from them, but it hasn't happened yet, and it raises the question of, is there enough in this lineup right now to actually sustain a playoff run. That remains to be seen, and the Blue Jays may very well have to take it to the trade deadline or to the trade market rather to find something that will allow them to put some more runs on the board here. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Tom is telling me that we have a caller here. This is great. So we'll go to, it's Dave from North Vancouver who's calling in. Let's see what Dave wants to talk about. How's it going, Dave?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you.
I thought a quick comment and a question for you. I guess the comment is picking up on what you were just saying a moment ago about how, the talk about slow start and small sample size is kind of wearing thin. I think that's true for a couple of reasons. And, Santander specifically, maybe it's not his fault directly, but, at least from my perspective as a fan watching the team, this is the third year in a row where there's been a lackluster offense, and it feels like sort of the same problems over and over. So, from a macro level, when I hear kind of talk of small sample size, et cetera, it just kind of makes me roll my eyes, and I'm probably not alone in that regard. My question, I guess, and I apologize for being redundant because you were talking about Bo Bichette a bit earlier, but, the issue of leadoff spot aside, I admit sometimes I get frustrated watching him in his aggressiveness, and I wonder if I just can't help but think that, despite all of the success that he's already had, I could picture Bo Bichette, when he retires from baseball and many years from now, giving an interview and being asked if you could go back in time and say something to younger self. I wonder if he'll say, boy, I wish I was just a little bit less aggressive and saw more pitches and forced the pitcher into the heart of the plate earlier in my career. Maybe you might think that upon reflection. Just want to get your thoughts on, leaving aside the issue of whether he should move out of the leadoff spot, just a general matter. I know being aggressive is kind of his thing, and it's, on the one hand, that's probably part of his strength, but I just feel like he could tone it down by, 25%, be a little less aggressive and ultimately be even a better hitter than he is, and see better pitches and drive the ball more than he's been doing lately. Appreciate your comments.
Hey, Dave, thank you so much. I think that's that is a great point. And it may come, right? Bichette is still, we kind of forget how young these guys are, and we kind of forget that maybe they have not reached their peak yet. And that may just be something that Bo figures out for himself a little bit later in his career that really allows him to unlock another level to his game. He has done it before, and that is kind of encouraging as well. He's always going to swing at pitches outside the zone because he knows he can get to them. But I agree with you. I think that might be maybe a little bit of a next step for Bichette. And if he can sort of master that a little bit, then we will probably see more from Bichette and a little bit more just all around offense from a guy like that. We will take a quick break now. We will take more of your calls and more of your texts when we are back. But this is Jays Talk, and I'm Julia Kreitz.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Knock all your summer projects out of the park with Home Hardware, the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays and your DIY partner in making your dream home a reality. From gardens to garages, back decks to front doors, refreshes and renos, we're here to help you cover all your bases and make every summer project a home run. Visit any of our 1,000+ Home Hardware and Building Center locations, where we're proud to be locally owned and genuinely Canadian.
Barry, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong bird food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at ArmstrongBirdFood.com.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are here on Sportsnet.
The wait is over.
Round 1 begins with 5 Canadian teams in the hunt for Lord Stanley.
Away we go.
The Leafs take on the Senators.
Battle of Ontario.
The Capitals versus the Canadiens.
They're on their feet in Montreal.
The Jets against the Blues.
Winnipeg, this could be the year.
The Kings versus the Oilers.
Edmonton and Los Angeles rekindled a rivalry.
Watch the Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's showtime.
Only on Sportsnet. Here for the Cup.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big challenges. The two men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Authorized by the Chief Agent of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Of all the things that Timber Mart can lend a hand to build, community ranks among the most important. And with the Timber Mart Local Leaders Initiative, we strive to recognize those dedicated to making their hometowns a better place to live, work, and play. From now to June 25th, you can vote to select our grand prize winner. They'll receive a $10,000 grant to support their outstanding initiative as Timber Mart's Local Leader of the Year. To vote, visit local-leaders.com. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
George Springer has given the Blue Jays the lead once again.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
You understand that it's a long season, and you try not to deviate from the norm too much. These guys, the way they, battled this whole series, the way they hung in there today, and you're one swing away from tying it or take the lead. You trust them. It's tough. It's a tough stretch. It's a tough series, but you can't panic by any means. It's way too early to be talking about doing anything drastic, and it takes one game to get out of it, really.
That was manager John Schneider after the Blue Jays' 3-1 loss to the Houston Astros. They have now lost 5 games in a row, and not a lot of offense to be talked about over that losing streak. It's time now for the Bet365 standings update. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Okay, let's take a look at the AL East then before we take some more calls and take a look at some more texts here. The Yankees won today. They beat the Guardians 5-1 in the afternoon. They're now 15-10. Pretty comfortable lead in the division right now. But the Boston Red Sox, who lost today, they've been pretty good over the last little stretch. They're now 14-12. Second place in the AL East. The Blue Jays with the loss today went to 12-13, so they are under 500. Third place in the division, the Orioles. The Orioles coming in at fourth, tied with the Rays right now. The Rays are still playing the D-backs, but Baltimore dropping another one. 3 losses in a row for them. That game was against the Nationals. 9-14 record, a record that they share with the Rays right now, although keep in mind again that Tampa Bay is still playing right now. They're facing the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that was the Bet365 standings update. Obviously, still the division is still very much in play. There's a lot of baseball left to be played in the season, but it would be nice for the Blue Jays not to allow all that much separation for the Yankees as well as the Red Sox now if things continue to trend the way that they are. We do have some more calls. I believe Guy in Maple is waiting in line too. So Guy, what's on your mind?
Hey, Julia, good evening. The last caller was bang on. I think, 3 years of not being able to add some power into this lineup. Santander's a nice piece, and he'll come around, but they needed more than just one power bat, especially, during a time where averages are down. I mean, those singles and doubles don't happen as often, and you need the home run to manufacture runs. I mean, that's the way baseball is today. The pitching's a lot better. However, saying that, it all comes down to ownership, hiring Shapiro, who's never won a thing in his life, hiring Atkins, who's never won a thing in his life, and then him hiring 2 inexperienced managers who probably the two worst that I've seen. And, I just, it's the same crap every year. I mean, it's like you have a little bit of hope. And, all you hear is it's too early. And, he's too laid back. I mean, as a manager, I prefer to see someone else in there, to be honest. But we're not going to win anything with these guys running stuff. I mean, they've never won anything in 30 years. Kind of like our franchise now. We haven't won anything since '93, and it's very frustrating. And my question is, you're talking a bit about maybe trades and whatnot. I think they really need to go after a team like maybe Oakland, who's playing in a temporary stadium and has all the pieces we need, I think, to compete, whether it be a Rooker and a Miller in the back end of the bullpen and maybe even a Langeliers. I know it would cost you half your farm system, but you know what? This is a year where there might not be a team that wins 95 games in this in the American League. I'll hang up and listen, and you're doing a great job, by the way.
Hey, Keith, thank you so much. I appreciate the call, and I do think a lot of people share your frustration right now in sort of seeing, how last year went and where we are right now. Is it all on the manager? I don't believe that. And when you hear John Schneider speak, he obviously has a very, very specific style of leadership. This is a guy who came up in the minors and he managed in the minors a lot. So maybe there's some of that in how you hear him talk about process and about trusting his guys and, more of that laid back approach when it comes to his players. So this is obviously you kind of look at the grand scheme of things. You can pinpoint certain situations, certain moments in which, yes, you can look at the manager and say that was just a wrong decision or that was just the wrong thing to say in that moment. But I definitely I wouldn't count out John Schneider just yet. To your point about just, how to address what's happening right now on the field specifically and where to go to find those pieces, I think that's a good point. There are teams out there that obviously have what the Blue Jays are looking for, and the Blue Jays should be able to sort of scrape together enough prospect capital to swing some trades. However, when you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signed to a $500 million deal over 14 seasons, it's not really just about this year anymore. It's funny that we have entered a little bit of a different point in how we think about these Blue Jays because everything was riding on this season before that deal. And now the contention window is pretty much wide open. There's no off-ramp anymore. So yeah, it will be fascinating to see what the Blue Jays do when trade season arrives, because it is clear that if this team wants to go a little bit farther, it does need reinforcements. You're just not necessarily looking at this moment anymore and thinking, this is it. They need to win in 2025, and it is worth it to completely dismantle the farm system in order to do it. That will definitely be a pretty fascinating storyline to watch as we go. We do have a couple more callers, if I'm not mistaken. Ross in New Jersey is waiting here. Wants to talk about Bo Bichette. Is that right, Ross?
Yeah, well, I don't. People get on the manager. Managers don't make 30-game differences or 20-game differences. Is John Schneider the best manager? Maybe not. But it's not. This is not about John Schneider tonight, and it hasn't been. It's about an offense that can hit. Bo Bichette swung at the first pitch, had 4 plate appearances, and saw 4 pitches. He got out in the first 3 pitches he saw and hit it. You can't have that. You can't have a guy come off the bench. And I give Springer a break because Springer does work the count. First pitch, take a pitch. The first guy that came out of that pen, it took him 8 pitches to get 4 guys out. You're down 2 runs. Come on, take a pitch. Maybe he walks somebody. Maybe he makes. But these guys, they have no idea what they're doing at the plate. Bichette can hit the homer at a ball 50 feet out of the strike zone. But the bottom line is he has no patience at the plate. 4 pitches. I've never seen any. 4 at bats. 4 pitches, 4 swings. It's ridiculous. It's just crazy. We did not. There's no idea when they get to the plate, some of these guys, of what they want to do. It's a free swinging batting cages. That's what it is.
Really quickly, Ross. So do you agree with me that it might be time to move on from Bichette in the leadoff spot here?
Listen, Bichette, you can't forget the guy did, as much as he frustrates people, he did lead the league in hits. He's a great hitter. It's not about, you can move this guy to 1 and this guy to 6 and this guy to 4. It doesn't make the difference. If guys aren't getting hits at key opportunities, here you had the 9th inning, it wasn't Bichette. It was Alejandro Kirk who couldn't get a big hit since the season started. You had 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. You had a chance. I know Hader's a great pitcher. He's a great closer, but you didn't get the hit. It's not where you put the people. Yeah, it makes a little bit of a difference, but it's not about Bichette hitting 1, 7th, or 9th. It's about this team collectively cannot hit, and this isn't new for this year. This was going on last year for most of the year. It's just not an offensive team. Like you said, Guerrero's going to come around. He's going to hit some homers. Santander's going to hit some homers. But to see, people talking about Dalton Varsho's going to come back and be a good offensive player. He's not a good offensive player. He's a bad offensive player. He strikes out. He's a great defender, but that's not going to help you. I don't know what to do anymore. But like the guy said before, Atkins and Chaparro have been a total disaster. Just a disaster.
Yeah, it's we've been talking a little bit, Ross. Thank you so much for your call. Even with Blake Murphy and Show, honestly, over the week and on the weekends, we have been talking a little bit more about the identity of this team, I guess, and kind of what we are to expect legitimately from this offense. Even if everything goes according to plan here, it does not look like this team is going to hit a ton of home runs or is going to hit for a lot of power. That's just not how they're built. And that's okay as long as everyone is actually doing their job and doing all of the little things that led the Blue Jays, frankly, to win a bunch of games earlier in the season. It is okay for the identity of this team to not be just a power hitting, the way that it was, the way that we remember it a few seasons ago. That is fine. But that means that when it comes time to hit that big single, you actually need to hit the single, especially when it comes with fewer than 2 guys out and all of the things that we kind of went through over the first segment here. So yeah, definitely something to consider as well when you kind of look at what the Blue Jays are doing right now. It's the fact
.437 OPS, which would be the worst on the Blue Jays right now, and it's AAA numbers, right? So what I see from that is we literally have no one that can come up and support the big league, roster. In fact, half of our big league roster really should be sent down, right? Like they're underperforming. I think we have 3 players that have over an 80 OPS plus, and not a single player from the minors that can come up. And I just think we've got 8 26th men on our roster and they're all position players. We have a top 5 payroll. How do we get to this? How do we have such a poor offensive major league showing and no one that can come up and support these players? I just want to know, how do we get to this and how do we get out of it?
Thank you so much for your call again, Joseph. The payroll portion of it was very reminiscent of Kevin Barker, who has really, made that point of how has this roster been constructed and how did the Blue Jays end up here with, the options of Ernie Clement and Will Wagner at third base. I know I said it a little bit earlier in the show. Just, I do believe that the first priority of this team